Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the weekly NR2003 2021 NASCAR Cup Series season here on the channel. Today, we have potentially one of the biggest curveballs of the season so far. It was definitely up there with Bristol Dirt. We saw how crazy that was. We are here at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, the second road course race of the season. Very excited to bring this one to you guys. As you guys know, a very big track when it comes to Formula One in the United States. And I, of course, have Jay Cook here alongside with me. Jay, we've been hyping this one up. We've been excited for this race. It's taken us a couple of different tracks to get one we're comfortable with. What are your high hopes, or maybe you don't even have high hopes, but do you have high hopes coming into today?
I think I do. Yeah, I mean this track certainly I think is going to provide a good race. I still don't necessarily know what all to expect, but I am excited for it. I am hoping that we're going to see a good race. Hopefully not a crash fest. Hopefully not one where the leader is 20 seconds away and just there's not really anybody close together in the field. So hopefully we see a lot of people stay close together. We don't see a large cap form, and hopefully we see a good race. Now, the one thing I will have to mention is I am 99% certain that the end of Sector 1 at this track is extremely inaccurate. Oh my goodness, I haven't
Hold
seen
on.
that
Oh my
before.
God, Mr. Cook, we're on the wrong one. we're on the wrong track. We're on the wrong
Yeah, I
track.
was gonna say I don't remember seeing that.
I'm like, wait a minute. We're on the wrong track. This is the one we want. Crap, you gotta be kidding me. This is the one we want. All right. All right, hold on here. Oh, Elliott is okay. Now we know how strong Elliott here is. We're gonna make sure he at least has a chance. We're not putting him way down there.
Where the heck was Larson too? He qualified on pole, and all those drivers he went through, he wasn't even there. Weird. Oh well, Chase is on pole this time.
Yeah, I
Looks like.
saw that. Elliott, Larson's right here. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll try this again. Go
Rip
boom.
Truex.
Yeah. Oh
Is he
well.
even? Is he even?
All my homies hate him. He's down like 10. All right, we'll go again in 3, 2, 1, go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the weekly NR 2003 2021 NASCAR Cup Series season here on the channel, where we follow along with the real life schedule week by week, no matter how bad the track is. And we mentioned that because this is a track that throws a huge curveball at the season's second road course race on the season. We don't know what to expect here at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Very excited, of course, to bring this one to you guys now, as I am joined by my good friend of Jay Cook here in the booth. Jay, I think we've both been very excited for this race all year long, not only in this game but as well as in real life. And I think today we're in store for a potentially very large curveball race.
Always excited to have more road courses on the schedule, especially a track like COTA. I think it can produce a decent race for the Cup Series, especially with the car that we have next year. But immediate hopes is obviously that we have a good race this year, and hopefully we see a race where not a lot of guys get separated, and we can still see some close racing, and we don't have the leader pulling away by 20 seconds. The one thing I will have to mention though is there is one big discrepancy about this track, and it's that at the end of Sector 1, I'm 99% sure it is extremely inaccurate. There's supposed to be like a little hill where the cars go up and take a right turn, and then they have an immediate left. It leads them down to the straightaway, or that leads them down to the long back straightaway. And in this track, it's nothing like that. I don't know why. I don't know if this track was made like when COTA was being built, and there was some kind of layout differences, and this guy went with the original layout before they changed it or something. I don't know why it's not right, but it's not right. So we'll just have to kind of deal with that because this is the only option we had. But either way, still very excited for the race.
Got to sim. There we go. 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, Jay mentioned that little scenario there at the end of Sector 1, so that's really the only issue. Overall, I think the track scaling's a little bit weird too, from what I've noticed, but I mean, we went with the best thing we could get. Actually, I had to went with the version of the track that Jay sent me because I was using the most recently updated one, but in turns 1, all of the cars were just sailing it off into turns 1, going way off the track, and it was terrible. So we're on actually an older version. I think I read this was like 2013 version or something like that. So it's going to be an interesting race nonetheless. Jay, I mean, up on pole, we have the guy who's known for being very strong at road course racing, and that is Chase Elliott. So far this season, he is winless just like he is in real life, and we've actually made a comparison to where he's having a relatively similar season points wise in our NR2003 season that he is in real life as well. But I mean, today, I mean, we know that this is a racetrack we've never been to, no practice, no qualifying here at Circuit of the Americas, at least for NR 2003. But I mean, do you still look at Elliott as the potential favorite here today? I mean, he is up on pole.
Yeah, I think that he's the immediate favorite in my opinion. Him and Truex both, which unfortunately for Truex, he's starting a little bit further back than Chase, so Chase already has the upper hand there. But I mean, just for the simple fact that they're road course guys, I think it's the immediate ones you have to look at. It would not be surprising to see somebody else be good here today and go off and take the win. The thing is, though, is going into this with knowing nothing. I think your just immediate pick has to be either Chase Elliott or Martin Truex. But very, very likely that someone else could wind up being the guy who wins here today.
So I mean, we know that we have no idea what to expect here today. So I mean, who comes into your mind as a potential just maybe out of nowhere comes out on top of this race today?
Uh, I I've been focusing so much on Chase Elliott and Martin Truex. I'm not sure that I've really thought about another potential candidate. I mean, Denny Hamlin's been decent at road courses before. I'm pretty sure Brad Keselowski's been okay at them as well. So maybe those two. Ryan Blaney, we saw him do pretty decent as well recently with winning the Roval and also winning at the road course Daytona road course this year in real life for the Clash. So highly possible that one of those guys is the one who gets the win here if it's not Chase Elliott or Martin Truex, but I still think that those have to be your immediate favorites.
Kyle Busch won the Clash, by the way.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right about that.
Blaney was going to win the Clash, and then that guy right there leading the field to the green turned him in the final turn. So 40 laps, by the way, on this race. We like to do about 60%, a little bit over half of what they do in real life. So, stage 1, we're keeping it very straightforward today. Stage 1, 10 laps. So, once they hit lap 11, stage 1 comes to a close. Top 10 get stage points. Stage 2 comes to a close when we hit lap 21, and then we, of course, race it from there to lap 40 to decide the race victory. So, very excited, Jay. I mean, we come into this race. I mean, this is a long pace lap. We got a lot of time to talk before we get going here in just a few moments' time. But we come into a day like today where Keselowski last week came in over 20 points below the cut line, and after Daniel Suarez and other drivers had issues, he is now 30 points above the cut line. So, I mean, it just goes to show how quickly things can change in that playoff grid. And we come to a track like COTA, that 30-point gap that Keselowski just built up could easily get wiped here today as we get ready to go green.
Yeah, I was expecting him to certainly gain some points and be in the playoffs. I was not expecting it to be 30 above the cut line though. That is a very large margin. And if he finishes where he's starting today, that margin is going to grow even further. So Kozlowski has to hope for another clean race. And if he gets one here today, all of a sudden his season has been turned around in the matter of 2 weeks.
So Chase Elliott getting ready to take the field to the green flag here from Austin, Texas at Circuit of the Americas with Kurt Busch alongside as the green flag is out and we are underway down towards this big uphill towards turns 1. Definitely is going to be a big aid for these guys in these heavy stock cars to allow these cars to get slowed down better. But Jay, we're coming up on the S's right here. Stock cars very vulnerable probably through this section of course. And I mean, these guys are going to be side by side here on this initial start. So these guys got to be very careful through this section.
Yeah, I think we need to be watching probably towards the back here as well. A lot of inexperienced guys back here. And if we see any three wide happen, which I don't know why they'd be doing that, but some of these guys don't know what they're doing and could send it three wide. And I think if we get three wide, like we see there with Truex, I think that's going to be a disaster. I don't think there's any way the
Oh,
three wide works through there, like I was just saying.
around goes the 8. Oh, it's not over. It's not over. It's not over. We got more trouble. Oh, no. Goodness gracious. No caution, by the way. Green flag stays out. Oh my goodness, we just had multi-car pileup right there. Two separate incidents. The three of Austin, Dillon, Anthony, Alfredo, Martin Truex Jr., Tyler Reddick. We still got a race going on, and no caution comes out. Hey, which I think is
Don't
the
forget,
big
you can
surprise here.
force one.
We can force one, but I mean, is that worth the caution?
I think it was just because of the hard hit there that Austin Dillon had. I don't think it was really worth one until he got slammed into the wall. But that's your choice, obviously. But I mean, kind of surprising that with some other things we've seen in testing, kind of surprising that a one car spin or a couple car spin can bring one out, but heavy contact like that does not bring a caution out.
I think we're just gonna let it slide now. We know what happens under caution from testing. And you guys will see that on display at the end of the stages. So I think we're just going to let it slide. But yeah, I mean, some damage there on the 19, the 3, the 38. So awkward situation there. If a caution comes up momentarily, we'll get a look at what happened or once these guys settled down. But not the start those guys were looking for. And immediately, I mean, I look at Martin Truex Jr., Jay. I mean, we know what the situation is for a guy like him. Right now, it comes in 29 points below the cut line, and here he is riding around at the very back of the field. It doesn't look like he got terrible damage, but clearly, I mean, his chances of getting stage points have probably already come to an end.
Yeah, and we were just talking about him as well as, this is the track for him. This is we're on a road course. We know how good he is at road courses. This was the time for him to turn his season around. And unfortunately, already looks like it's over on lap 1 as he's going to pit here to repair his damage, and that's going to put him in an even worse spot. Now, I think the thing he has to hope is that he can ride around for these next 9 laps and not lose a lap, which I mean, pretty easy here to do. I think at COTA, these laps are so long, this track is so long that he should be fine here, just as long as his car is not absolutely down on pace. He should be all right. But that's certainly not the way he wants to have his race start at all. And I was just mentioning as well about inexperienced drivers taking it 3 wide. We haven't seen the replay yet, so I don't know who did it. But it's ironic to me that as soon as I say that, Martin Truex Jr., one of the most experienced guys on road courses and one of the best guys in the sport at road courses, is 3 wide and gets wrecked.
It looked like to me somebody got out of shape because when we kind of came into the frame, they were wide. So the 3 car, he's already out. Truex, he is well out of his pit box there. What's that left side look like? Looks way better. There's definitely some damage on the back of that car. But right now, these guys are single file, very calm so far as we come through these corners. So we might as well take this opportunity here as Chase Elliott already trying to open up a gap. We're going to get a look at what happened there on lap 1 is Alfredo. He's still in the pit lane. We'll see if he can get out before these guys get back around one more time. But let's get a look there at what happened on that opening lap through the S's. Here's a look at what happened through the S's on this opening lap right here. Truex is a little bit out of shape right there. Then the 41 of Cole Custer runs into the back of him, nearly turns him towards that guardrail, and then they all go 4 wide right here. The 41 turns the 8 of Reddick right here into the side of Truex. He goes around with Reddick, and then Alfredo, of course, gets involved, but that's not it right here. The 48 turns the 38 into the 3. They go into the guardrail, and somehow no caution ends up coming out from that incident, and we would continue on our way. So, Jay, I mean, we see Truex, of course, back on track. He does hold on to the lead lap, and it looks like their damage is pretty fixed up. So it might not be the end of the world for them. We know they're not going to really have a chance at stage points now, but I mean, they can focus on the rest of this race on staying out of trouble on these restarts, and maybe they could still recover a decent finish out of it.
Yeah, I don't think that damage was heavy enough either for it to be impacting the performance of the car. He didn't get hit anywhere in the front, so he should be okay. The only thing I can think of is maybe a little bit of something there with the rear end. But yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine. He can just ride around to the end of the stage here. He might be able to come down pit road one more time for a quick second and be all right towards the end of the stage. But he certainly can just ride around where he's at now and then go to work once this restarts for stage 2.
You see Kyle Larson there trying to make a move for second place. Couldn't quite pull it off right there as Chase Elliott opens up that gap a little bit to those drivers behind him. Now is behind here. Kevin Harvick side by side with William Byron in the number 24 car. Byron's been having a strong season. Kevin Harvick, great start to the season. Won the first 2 races, then he kind of fell off, and actually now over the last couple of weeks has been seeming to be picking it back up a little bit here for Stewart Haas. So of course he's already locked in to the playoffs. I mean, right now up front, Jay, I mean, we look at Kyle Busch currently running in the 6th position. That's one of those guys we have to keep an eye on because right now we come into today at Circuit of the Americas. He is 45 points below the cut line. It has not been the season he has wanted. I mean, honestly, for a lot of Joe Gibbs Racing, it hasn't gone well other than for Denny Hamlin. So not only Kyle Busch, but Joe Gibbs Racing, they really need to get it figured out very quick now as we're halfway through the regular season.
Yeah, he's been having better performances of recent. He's just still not getting the finishes that he needs, and I think that needs to turn around. I mean, really now is where you want to see that turnaround. This is a track where he really can get some separation in there, and he cannot have to worry about anyone once we get into stage three. So if he can finish in the top 10 in both stages and then just pull away and kind of have a gap in front of him and a gap behind him in stage three, he can be clean. He can run his own race, and then he can get a decent finish and not have to worry about getting wrecked by somebody, which is what's happened to him sometimes. Other times it's been him creating chaos, so he needs to keep himself clean as well. And I mean, like we saw with Kozlowski last week, he was well below the cut line, and all of a sudden he comes in 30 points above. If Kyle Busch has a good race this week and somebody in front of him in the points wise does not have a good race, then who knows? We might see Kyle Busch into the playoffs after this race.
The 23 and the 99 kind of got together a little bit there, pushing Suarez over off the track into the grass. Other than that, they kept it pretty clean, but I was also focusing, you saw the 48 car of Alex Bowman. He's down currently in 23rd place, and another guy that's in desperate need of a good race. So a couple weeks ago, he was 48 points below the cut line, and then he was 49 points above the cut line, or sorry, below the cut line. And then after last week, now he's 59 points below the cut line. So, Jay, I mean, it looked like it was going in the right direction for a couple of weeks, and now it's going in the wrong direction once again for the HMS team. So, I mean, what does that 48 team have to do to get something turned around here?
I think the main thing is he can go and talk to Chase Elliott, and he should have hopefully talked to Chase Elliott about tips and pointers and things for road courses. Obviously, again, a new track, so probably can't they probably can't know exactly what they're going into here, and I'm sure Chase Elliott didn't have a ton of information to give him. Uh, but still, I think that's the number one person you have to look at, and you can also look at their data as well and see what Chase Elliott is doing, and then try and mimic that yourself. And I think that's probably the main thing he has to do. I mean, Elliott's leading this race right now. He's pulling away a bit from second place, so you know for a fact that at the moment he is one of the fastest guys on track. So you can look at that data and try and replicate that. And then also his team just needs to make sure that the setup follows the track all day long. If there's something Bowman doesn't need, his crew chief needs to make sure that he gets it right on adjustments.
We're actually going to get a quick look, by the way, at that pass there that 23 of Bubba Wallace made on Daniel Suarez. It looked like they kind of came together a bit. It was hard to tell, but let's get a quick look at what just happened there on that previous lap. So here is the pass from Daniel Suarez, or Bubba Wallace on Daniel Suarez here. They went down into the corner. Jay, what looks like happens here?
I mean, that corner is one that everybody's kind of talked about going into the weekend of where you're gonna have to brake for that corner and slow down for it and all that. And if you can get these heavy cars slowed down, I think that's just what happened there. Suarez wound up getting on his brakes way too late and just missed the corner a bit, and Bubba Wallace was able to take advantage of it and get around.
Back to the live scene now. Daniel Suarez actually to the right-hand side of the 23 of Bubba Wallace here, trying to make a move and get past him. Can he pull it off? No, he cannot. Bubba hangs onto the spot now. Up ahead, you saw two of those Ford drivers going at it between Custer and Busher. Now Denny Hamlin under the attack from Ryan Blaney right now. Chase Elliott comes through, continuing to lead the field to the green here now, or under green, I should say now. So it was a 1.3 second gap, now 1.5. So obviously, now actually I see trouble in the back though. Denny Hamlin blowing up, it looks like. Oh man, thank goodness Denny Hamlin, last week's winner. He's very fortunate for himself that he's already won. But Jay, I mean, doesn't, if I'm not mistaken, does he have to go all the way around the track, or is he going to be able to just get to the pit lane and not bring out a caution?
I think he'll be able to just kind of stop there, and his car will go poof in a couple of seconds here, and it
Oh,
shouldn't
there
bring
we
out a
go.
caution. So it should be fine there. But yeah, extremely fortunate for him that he's got that win. I think even if he didn't get the win, points wise, he was so far up. I think he's in no matter what. But yeah, very unless we get some winners, I guess. But very good for him that he's got that win. Unfortunate that he's already out this week. He was the guy that I was looking at outside of Chase Elliott and Martin Truex that he could win today. And I don't know what happened with the engine there, but I think that's something his teammates need to be looking at as well, just in case they had the same issue.
We'll have to wait to see exactly what the reason for failure on that engine was here. Probably in a lapse time, we'll have an idea. But there you see Hamlin out 2 wins on the season for the Joe Gibbs Racing driver, and the only Joe Gibbs Racing driver that has won this
Oh yeah.
season, and actually the only Joe Gibbs Racing driver in the playoffs right now, by the way. So Truex, Bell, Kyle Busch, they're all actually 18th, 19th, and 20th in the standings coming into this race. So going to be interesting to see what happens there. As
You
Kyle
can
Larson,
sorry, I just want to
go
break
ahead,
in. You
yeah, go
can you
ahead.
can take away my entire analysis there. I completely forgot he already had a win before he
Yeah.
won last week.
Yeah, he picked up where did he win? I think it was I don't even remember, to be honest with you guys, but he does have 2 wins on the season. So Hamlin looking pretty strong, of course, now. Still looking for that first career championship in his Cup Series career. And Jay, I mean, obviously, we know Hamlin getting up there in age, running out of time to pull that off. I mean, this season in real life looking very strong and looking very strong in NR as well. Maybe this could be the year he finally gets it done.
Certainly could be. I mean, this been a couple years in a row now where it looks like it's Denny Hamlin's year. He's kind of like Kevin Harvick as he's gotten into his older years. He's all of a sudden just come out of nowhere. I mean, of course, I'm not saying that Denny hasn't always been a good driver. He's always been a good driver, always been competitive in the Cup Series. It's just now out of nowhere, the last couple of years, he's kind of exploded out of nowhere, and really been the favorite all year long for the last couple of years. So he really needs to find a way to make it go all the way through to the last race as well, and not just be 35 out of 36 races that he looks like the top guy.
So we're going to get a look here at the fastest laps of the race so far, and that belongs, I mean, you look up in the top five, and all these guys are running up here. Chase Elliott with the fastest lap. Then we go to Kurt Busch. Kyle Larson, he's got the fifth fastest lap. Keselowski, third. Logano, sixth. Kyle Busch down in eighth for fastest lap. Ryan Blaney, he's down in ninth. But the one that I noticed is the 24 of William Byron. He's not in the top five in the leaderboard, but currently has the fourth fastest lap. And then Denny Hamlin, he had the 10th fastest lap. That's not going to matter anymore as he is out of the race. But Kurt Busch on that last lap did gain a little bit of time on Chase Elliott. I think Jay, so far, just a handful of laps in. This is a long road course, long time to get these laps completed. I think so far, Kurt Busch probably is the bit of the surprise. We never really see him running great at road courses. Earlier this year in real life, he was in the mix a little bit at the Daytona road course, actually crashed himself while leading, but actually rebounded to a solid finish. But we never really look at him or bring him up in terms of talking about who's going to be a threat. But here he is today, having a good run so far.
He's really ran well this entire season as well. He's had some good finishes. He's had some really good runs. I remember towards the early part of the season, we were talking about both him and Kyle Larson being the dominant guys of the season. Kurt's going a little bit wide there. Larson may be able to make the pass on him here, but yeah, he's looked really strong today, and I don't think we're going to see him fall that far down the order. He looks good. Kurt is an overall just really underrated and really good driver in my opinion. So it's not that shocking to see him here in second place. But yeah, like you said, not normally a guy you think of Kurt Busch at excelling at road courses.
Kurt Busch trying to hold on to that second runner-up position currently now as Elliott continues to lead the way. They should not have to pit here, by the way, at least in stage 1 or 2. In that second or in that third stage, they should have to make a green flag pit stop at some point, probably around the middle of that stage. So we'll of course stay tuned on that. And I should mention at the end of these stages, when the cautions come out, when we were doing testing through the S's specifically, we noticed that these drivers like to stack up a lot, where we've seen at oval tracks as well, and then they'll run into the back of each other. So we're hopeful that maybe they'll be spread out enough to where hopefully they're slowed down enough and they don't get all clumped up, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. Hopefully it's not going to be too much of an issue, but I guarantee we're going to see some cars take some damage under caution here today at Circuit of the Americas. So just up ahead there, I saw the 14 trying to make a move on the 99 of Daniel Suarez. Couldn't quite pull it off. Jay, Daniel Suarez, an interesting season for the Trackhouse driver. Went over to this brand new team, one of those new teams up against another new team of 2311 multiple times a season. And right now here they are running bumper to bumper. But a very fascinating season where Suarez has probably had more weird mechanical failures and just weird things happening to that team that have really put them now on the outside looking in the playoff situation.
I think we've also seen this happen a lot of times this season where we see the 99 and the 23 right there together. They seem to be just having really good performances out of both of those teams, and they've really turned it up lately. And like you said, there with Suarez too. He's just had those unfortunate mechanical things go wrong. I think it's been at least 3 times now this season, if not more than that. I know at least 2 where he hasn't even started the race before he has some kind of mechanical issue. So looking at where he's at right now, just outside of the playoffs, I think without those mechanical issues, he's a guy probably like Tyler Reddick or really Keselowski right now, who's 30 points above. I think without those mechanical issues, he'd be looking like one of those guys who's well locked into the playoffs and in a really good spot right now, or would be in a really good spot right now.
Once again, Larson trying to put some pressure on Kurt Busch. He's actually going to get alongside right here. And of course, if he can stay alongside, oh, really close quarters right here. But if he can stay to the left of Kurt, can't make it happen. But if he could just stay up the left-hand side right here. Oh, wait, hold on. Here comes a move from Larson side by side now. Is now Kurt, though. He's going to have the advantage, but can Larson maybe carry this momentum around the long side around here as they go side by side through the kind of carousel? And look at the speed that 5 car has. He might get him. Yes, he does. Kyle Larson gets clear of Kurt Busch there and moves up into P2. And now we're going to see if Kyle Larson has anything for Chase Elliott. Jay, I'm sure if Kyle Larson gets to the lead, we know something's going to probably go wrong.
Always does. Always seems to happen for him. And would not surprise me to see that happen again here. I mean, I just don't see anything breaking that trend, unfortunately, for Kyle Larson. I don't know what it is, but it seems like if he gets in second place, his race goes clean as ever. Nothing ever happens. But as soon as he gains one more spot and gets into first, if it can go wrong, it'll go wrong for Kyle Larson.
We'll, of course, have to stay tuned on that. Larson up to second place, trying to run down his Hendrick Motorsports teammate Chase Elliott. Larson's won some stages this season, been very strong. He's won stages in real life and thrown away wins. So, I mean, honestly, he's having a pretty similar season here in NR2003 as well. Alex Bowman, by the way, continuing to struggle, but we look up ahead. So, Bowman's currently still about P22. But what I'm finding interesting, Jay, it almost looks like here, up ahead, there's quite a bit of a gap between Ryan Newman and the next car of Matt DiBenedetto. That's multiple seconds right there. So does it look like potentially the 6 car is just holding up this line of cars?
Would not surprise me. That would be very Ryan Newman like. I don't know if there's just that much of a performance gap or a driver gap or whatever of who's got this track figured out and who doesn't yet, or if it's truly just Ryan Newman holding him up and not being able to pass here. I think it's a bit of maybe a little bit of both, but I mean I think if Ryan Newman were holding these guys up, you'd see Cole Costa right on the back of him the whole time, and you'd really kind of see a stacked up line. There is still a little bit of separation there. So I think it's probably just, well, okay, way back there definitely is a stack up. So maybe I'm a little bit wrong on that, but somebody's definitely holding somebody up there here. I don't know if it's necessarily Ryan Newman uh, with the entire group, but somebody in that group is definitely holding those guys up towards the back.
It looks like Kurt Busch is under some more pressure. So as the run carries on, his car clearly seems to be falling off now. It's because Lowski's trying to put some pressure on him here, but Logano Kyle Busch kind of in the distance now is right there. Almirola trying to make a move, couldn't quite pull it off. But yeah, I mean, Cole Custer trying to maybe put some pressure on the back of Ryan Newman. I mean, just interestingly, in real life, of course, if it happens, which it sounds like it will, of course, it'll play a role in our NR 2003 going into like next year. Is we just heard that Brad Keselowski, it's pretty much a done deal that he's going to be co-owning Roush Fenway Racing next year and driving for them. And the main guy we're looking at is this guy right here, Ryan Newman. From the sounds of it, Jay, Ryan Newman's going to be the one on the outside of Roush Fenway Racing at the end of this year, which kind of makes sense for them to do to bring in Keselowski. But I mean, what do you make of this move that we've all of a sudden out of nowhere heard about happening?
I am still trying to wrap my head around it, still trying to process what I think about it. I think it's a good move in the long term for Brad because he's always talked about wanting to be an owner in NASCAR. He tried it several years ago with his own team, and unfortunately wasn't able to go anywhere. But I think it's a good move long term for him. I don't know if it's going to bring him any kind of success in the short term as far as his Cup Series career is going to go. But I mean, Keselowski's done almost everything you'd want to do as a driver. He's got a championship. He's got multiple wins. He's always been competitive. So and he's obviously got a family to look forward to now. So I'm sure that he's probably just wanting to go there to kind of finish out his career, trying to make that team as competitive as he can be, and then move into a definite ownership role once he retires. And I think that is going to be the good move for him in the long term.
Now, what do you think about Ryan Newman? Can you see a team potentially picking up, or maybe does the fact that the guy is now in his 40s and he is yet to win a race in 4 years really play a huge role in the fact that he very well might not get picked up and potentially be forced out of the sport, kind of like how Matt Kenseth was forced out in 2017, I think it was.
Yeah, I don't think I think we'll see a bit of the same with Newman as well. And there's a lot of factors on both sides. I don't think that Newman's going to want to go to a bad team. I don't think he's going to want to be paid lower team salary. I don't think a lower team is going to want to pay him top tier salary. I don't know if he's got the sponsorship that'll follow him to a team as well. And then also there's the potential that he could go to another series, but I don't think that happens either personally because I don't see Newman as being the type of guy who would want to race in one of the lower series. I think for him it's either the Cup Series or nothing. I know the passion he has for this sport but I don't think that passion would follow over into one of the lower series. I think for him, it's either Cup Series or nothing. So I think he's going to be in a bit of a Kansas situation as well, where he's going to get forced out and basically forced to retire.
So all of this sounds like it is a done deal happening. Of course, we talked about it actually on our podcast, and it sounds like it might not even be confirmed until later this year. So we'll have to stay tuned and follow that throughout the year. But now Chase Elliott out of the final turn is coming through to start the final lap here in the first and opening stage at Circuit of the Americas. They'll wait for him to get past out of turns 1 through the S's before we call out the caution. But now that Kyle Larson's got up to second, that gap has been decreasing. It was 2.4 seconds when Larson made the pass on Kurt Busch, and in the 2 laps where he's had a clear track to go after Chase Elliott, he has cut it down to 1.84 seconds. So Jay, obviously not enough time for Larson to run down Elliott, but now if he can keep the car clean under caution and not get ran into without any damage, he could be a legitimate threat here to that 9 car of Chase Elliott today.
Certainly does seem like it, and he's been the dominant guy all season long. So it would not be shocking here to see him be the guy to be here today. It's just I think that still you have to look at Chase Elliott though with the experience that he has on road courses, or not really experience, but with the dominance he has on road courses and with how good he is here. I still don't think we're going to see Larson beat Chase Elliott, but I expect him to be competitive, and it could be those two battling it out all day long.
And Chase Elliott heading now down the long straightaway here, so we will be under caution in a few moments. Time as we're going to ride on board. There you see the bumper cam looking back at Kyle Larson with all those hot air balloons in the sky. So Elliott with a great first stage, took a commanding lead, drove away as drivers like Kyle Larson battled with Kurt Busch trying to get up front. And now that Larson's got up into that second position, he's making it count now as he continues to close in. But now Kurt Busch might be under attack right here from Joey Logano. He's been falling off here in these late laps, and sure enough, there goes the 22 trying to make a move there. It looks like now the 1 car, yeah, he will actually hold off Logano. So Logano is definitely going to have a tough time getting past here. But Kurt Busch clearly falling off because everybody that's been able to get in front of him just starts driving away. Logano trying to have another look right there, but once again, not going to be enough. So currently you got Logano 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th right here. And De Benedetto looks like he's going to be the first one out of stage 1 unless something happens to Almirola or William Byron or someone else up in front here momentarily. But so far, Jay, in this first stage, surprisingly, I mean, it seems like a normal road course. We really haven't seen maybe the potential kind of surprise driver that's really in need of a good race come out and shock us yet.
I think the one thing that's been extremely notable to me is it looks like it's pretty hard to pass. We've seen several trains get created. Kurt Busch kind of had one going there, and he's slowly falling down the order now. And then there was the group of Ryan Newman back there and such. It seems like it's hard to pass here, which I wasn't expecting. There's lots of long straightaways here where you can get runs on guys in front of you, but it just seems like so far that that's not really playing out. That dirty air is a factor. I don't know. Maybe something is. It looks like it's keeping these guys from being able to pass each other so far.
So we got to keep an eye right here. This is where things are going to get sketchy. So we mentioned we did a test already, and we saw these guys all stack up under caution, and we're already seeing that come into effect. I think it has to do with the pace car or something. As here it is right there. Oh, the 1 car of Kurt Busch is really going to pay the price, and the 18 of Kyle Busch has heavy damage, and all of a sudden, oh no, goodness gracious, the 21 of De Benedetto, but look at Kurt Busch's car. That might be race or severely race impacting for him. It looked like a good 3 to 4 cars right there. Everybody else here in the midfield is fine because the pace car has gotten away, but Jay, actually, now that we're really seeing it, it looks like it's a pace car issue slowing everybody up.
Yeah, it's something weird right there with them catching a pace car right in that specific turn. It's the same spot it happened before as well in our testing. And wow, Kurt Busch got a lot of damage here. I noticed a lot of those guys ran into each other. Just a good bit of them were able to keep from getting major damage, although there is a lot of crumpled up rear ends. But yeah, something about the line through there makes them really slow up catching the pace car. For some reason, I don't know why the pace car doesn't just get through there. But the sudden slow up is what seems like creates the damages. There's even some there on the rear end of Chase Elliott.
Yeah, I think the 5 of Larson might have gotten into the back of him. Now, I mean, so we look at the guys with major damage that are likely going to have to spend some extra time on the pit lane. The front 3 are going to be pretty good. Keselowski has some damage there, but Kurt Busch definitely. Logano might take some extra time. Kyle Busch for sure, and then maybe Matt DiBenedetto as well because he's got quite a bit of front end damage. Everybody else is fine. So that was about 3 to 4 drivers actually, which is honestly less than I anticipated. So that's at least one of the positives there. But definitely quite a few guys right there taking some major damage. So we're gonna hang in here and wait till these guys come around to do their pit stop cycle before we go to a quick break. But overall, Jay, definitely passing seems to be a tricky thing here today. And honestly, I think that the cautions are going to be where we see the most passing because guys are going to be running into each other and forcing them into longer pit stops.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. We're going to see Kurt Busch now. I would think he's certainly going to have to repair that damage. And he was one of the guys holding everybody in the top 10 up. So we could see him fall down the order. And all of a sudden now we start seeing more gaps for him now that he's going to be out of the way and some other drivers as well. So I kind of agree with you. And restarts as well. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here with them still being single file. If we're going to see them kind of be crazy through the S's still, be 2 and 3 wide, or if they're just going to kind of be single file and never really be able to make something happen. So I think this restart's going to be huge here, and especially for a guy like Martin Truex as well, we're going to be able to see him finally start making his way back up to the field.
So we look at the fastest lap times. Truex currently has the 14th fastest lap time. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do. And actually, look at this. Chase Elliott staying out on the track, but I don't think he's the only one. Kyle Larson, he's coming in. Keselowski's staying out. And I believe I see someone coming up here in the frame, and that is Kevin Harvick as well staying out. And then we got a handful of others. So Daniel Suarez, Chastain, the 47, the 20. And Jay, I don't know what this is about because these guys, there's no way they're making it to the end of stage 2.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this strategy. This strategy is not smart. We've seen these crew chiefs try some other strategies before in these races, and it doesn't work. The only thing that I can think of that may be okay for Chase Elliott is a lot of the guys that were his main competitors are now going to be mired back into the field. So he can try and build out a decent gap and maybe be okay when he pits. He's certainly not going to have the lead no matter what. He's not going to be able
Oh,
to gain that delta as the 10 and the 22 have some contact on pit road. And maybe the one as well. I
oh, they're
just
good.
saw him
They're
pull
good.
out in a sketchy spot. But yeah, it's certainly Chase Elliott. I think is the best one of the group here to do it. But I still question the call. I don't think it was smart at all.
So Kyle Busch and Benedetto, their teams have decided to just take the front ends off their cars. Kyle Busch has quite
48
a bit of
just got ran
damage.
into coming off pit road there.
Bowman there, rough stage 1 for him. But yeah, I mean, wow. We just saw the 22 pick up quite a bit of damage there on the right side of that car. So they're going to have to probably come in and fix that potentially. We've seen guys at ovals run with that same type of damage. So honestly, they might stay out here. But I mean, Jay, we look at Kyle Larson before we go to a break. The first one to come into the pit lane. He's down to now 16th position. So that's the thing. Chase Elliott now. I mean, I don't see. There's no way they can make it to the end here of stage 2. So it's weird. Maybe they're banking on a quick caution, or I mean, what? I mean, what's even the strategy here?
Quick caution, yeah, that could be an answer. And again, he's got all those cars behind him, so there's a chance with especially if it's hard to pass here, there's a chance that he's able to build up that lead back to Kyle Larson to where he could pit and maybe not lose a position or at least not lose that much time and come out in second or third place. So I think that's maybe the thinking. I'm not too sure how far they can go, so there might be some thinking ahead to stage 3 as well, with how they have to split that stage up. So I don't know the exact thinking of the strategy here. Obviously, there's a lot of guys doing it, so there's some kind of knowledge behind it. There's some kind of method to the madness here. But I think that Chase Elliott's probably, and maybe even Keselowski, are probably the only two that can get away with the strategy here if it stays green. If there's a caution, then obviously that strategy goes out the window, and it was genius. If it stays green, I think only Chase Elliott and Keselowski are the only two that get away with it.
So we actually are going green this time by, but there's still quite a bit of time until they get around the track. As Truex is actually back on the pit lane there. You see them holding him, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But we're going to go to a very, very quick break and come back here in a few moments' time, getting ready to go green for stage 2. Back from Circuit of the Americas, it was looking like Martin Truex Jr.'s chances were looking pretty
They're
good to
stacking up
rebound.
behind.
Yeah, they are stacking up. I think they're okay. Yep. Okay. No one's running into each other. But Truex, he's going to go a lap down right here. So all of a sudden, we thought his chances were back to get a good finish. Well, something's clearly gone wrong there. Not quite sure as he is still on the pit lane, so he will for sure be a lap down here now as we get ready to go green for the start of stage two. Overall, I mean, we see this time and time again, Jay. All of a sudden at the end of these stages, everything just goes all wacky.
Yeah, it's certainly some interesting strategy being called. Things happening with damage under caution. Obviously, Truex having something go wrong there, and then you got to think about the restarts as well. As I was wondering if they're going to be too wide. Well, they're certainly going to be too wide going through here. So let's see if they can keep it clean.
There's Kyle Larson. That's really the main one we want to keep an eye on. But I mean, they could have trouble in front of Kyle Larson, and that could get him involved. So you got to be very well aware now, as he's got to navigate through quite a bit of slower cars. Compared to what he's used to being around on a weekly basis. So he's got to be very careful here. So far, they are getting through here pretty clean. Logano did stay out with that damage, by the way, on that right hand side. But nonetheless, a pretty clean start to this stage through the S's at least. We'll see if they can keep it up now. But Larson didn't make up a whole lot of track position there. You see Timmy Hill. But up front, Chase Elliott, you can already see in the distance right here. He's already trying to open up that gap. Now, as we got to watch out for guys right here. This corner, surprisingly, I mean, could be a good opportunity to maybe use the bumper, get a little bit physical, and just move someone out of your way.
Yeah, I have to think that we'll probably see Kyle Larson do that here as well, as he's behind some guys who are clearly lacking on pace on him, and we're going down this long straightaway here. He's got the time and obviously the speed advantage to get past a couple of these guys here, and then maybe go down into that the last corner and this corner as well, to use your bumper and kind of move some guys out of your way. Is he's still not getting around Noah Gregson? I thought he would just blow right by him.
Now, what do you think happens here with these guys staying up? They don't get this quick caution. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they pit within a lap or two. Do you think they might come in right here potentially?
They possibly could. I don't know if we don't get the caution and they only go a lap or two, that even makes me question the strategy even further, because I don't get the thinking of that. If they're one of the guys further back and they can only go a lap or two into this stage, so I have to think they're probably going to ride it out here for 4 or 5 laps and then try and have something towards the end of the stage here. But either way, these guys are so down on pace. No matter what they do, they really have no chance, in my opinion.
Elliott, he will stay out here along with everybody else that stayed out at the end of stage one. Larson, he is making up some time so far. He is doing the best of the drivers that did come into the pit lane. William Byron's the next guy behind him that pitted, but Larson actually might be in the top 10 here at the end of this first lap. But clearly, there's a lot of speed in that 5 car there. As you see him make the pass and already put the attack to the inside of Michael McDowell. They come through to cross the line, and Larson now up to 10th, making a pass for 9th place here as we go down into turns one. So right now, I'm getting a little bit nervous for Kyle Larson, Jay, because everything is looking really good for this 5 team right now. He's working his way through traffic really well. We know he's got speed. He was up there battling Chase Elliott nearly, especially if he had a few more laps. So everything right now is going flawlessly for this 5 team, which is only a concerning thing for us.
Yeah, normally with every other team, you're like, oh, look at this, they're having a great day, everything's going right. For Kyle Larson, it's, oh, they're having a great day. When is something going to go wrong? Because it always does. It seems like everything, no matter what, goes wrong for him at some point in a race. Whenever he's having a flawless race and whenever he looks like the guy to beat. So certainly, I think the strategy call for them, or well, it's not really even a strategy call. I think this them pitting and other guys not pitting is going to work out in the long run really well for Larson. I think that he's going to be able to get the lead here eventually. He may even be able to do it before these guys pit. And if he's able to do it like that, then I mean that easily puts these guys who did not pit behind the 8 ball, and that really puts them in a
Oh,
bad
we got
spot.
trouble in the back. Trouble in the back. That might be a caution. I saw Quinn Half go for a spin. There he is right there. Is the caution out? No caution. It was just a single car incident, but Quinn Half goes around. We'll get a look here once things calm down and if we know what's going on with the pit situation. But yeah, awkward moment right there. Larson as well gets past the 20. The 24 Byron was trying to make a pass on Yaley. Looks like he went a little bit wide there after completing that pass. As Blaney's gonna get a little bit physical there, trying to shove himself through on the inside of the 34 McDowell. But honestly, Jay, these slower cars staying out have made for some nice good racing here, which we were kind of lacking there in stage one.
Yeah, we are finally able to see some passing going on here, and especially some passing in the top 10 as well. So that is nice to see. I still question the strategy call, but it is nice to see some actual racing going on after just the first lap, and still side by side back here towards the back end of the top 10 and even the top 15 as well. So nice to see that. And then I think it'll be nice to see Larson charge through the field as well. It'll really give us an indication of how good his car is. And it's also just always nice to see Kyle Larson making passes because he's one of the better guys in the sport, and he can get aggressive when he wants to be.
There he is now at the end of lap 2 here in stage 2, making a pass on the 47, looking up the inside of the 42 car's previous car, of course, in the Cup Series. And sure enough, this is going to move him into 7th place already out of turns 1. And next up, he's going to be going for a pass on Daniel Suarez. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, Larson, no, sorry. He's up into 5th place. So, I mean, great recovery already for the Hendrick Motorsports driver now as his teammate of Chase Elliott continues to lead the way now, as it looks like things are starting to settle out a little bit now, as these slower cars are slowly but surely starting to drift down the order. But Kyle Busch, very unfortunate what happened to him. Stage points in stage 1, obviously you see the front end of that car, you know there's not going to be a lot of speed in that thing. So Jay, once again, honestly, something that was out of his control right there, hurting his chances with the playoff situation even more once again.
I think if there's one guy in this field that we have really cursed this season, it's certainly Kyle Busch. Every single time we talk about him needing to have a clean race and starting off having a good run, something happens to him. It's been almost every single week we talk about him and something like that happens to him. So if there's really one guy I feel like we have truly cursed, is Kyle Busch. And Kyle Busch, I'm sorry, he's been running good and something always happens. So I have to think that we are certainly a part of why his season's going wrong. But yeah, once again, just having a good run and then something out of his control happens, and now unfortunately, it still seems like he's going to be struggling points wise at the end of this race.
So Kyle Larson now into the 4th position here as he runs down Kevin Harvick, as well as we're going to now try and get a quick look at what happened to Quinn Houff there, which we saw him spinning there coming out of that corner heading down that long straightaway. Actually, just a second here. Let's see what happens with the 23 and the 1. It looks like they are probably going to be okay as they go down into the left-hand. There's still some slow traffic, of course, at this part in the field. Playing a factor now as Larson's actually putting pressure on Kevin Harvick. So let's see if we can complete this pass, and then we'll get a look at what happened there to Quinn Houff now as Larson is all over the back of him. And honestly, Chase Elliott is surprisingly, I mean, Jay, he's clearly lost time to Kyle Larson instead of being able to pull away and use that to his advantage with those cars in between.
I think what we're seeing here is something that I was not expecting to be such a big advantage, and that's new tires. We normally don't talk about that at road courses, and it's normally never a huge factor. But I think this is certainly something that's happened that's helping Larson right now. I mean, we know he's got a good car, so that helps as well. But the new tires just seem to be working for him, and it seems to be working for everybody else behind him as well. As we've seen them make up positions, certainly not as fast as he has, but everybody behind him who's pitted has kind of followed him slowly but surely. So I think new tires, what we're seeing here is new tires are going to be very important. And this strategy call is really going to bite these teams in the butt. I really don't think they saw this coming.
So Larson closing very quick on Keselowski as well. We're going to get a quick look there at what happened with Quinn Houff, though, a few laps ago. Quinn Houff, you were wondering, how did he get himself turned around? Actually, Cody Ware this time as we come through the left-hander. Very slow braking sharp turn right here. He just does not cut the 0-0 brake, turns him around. Corey LaJoie gets a little bit of a piece of it, and they all get back going. No caution comes out, so we kept it green. But yeah, no brakes from Cody Ware here today at Circuit of the Americas. Back to the live scene now. You got Kyle Larson, though, all over the back of Brad Keselowski. And Jay, I don't know if we got only a handful of laps to go here in stage 2, and all of a sudden it looks like these guys might be trying to make it to the end, which would, I think, shock both of us. But even if they somehow can, it looks pretty evident that Kyle Larson made the smartest call of anybody, and even if they can make it, he's clearly going to be able to go and probably run down the 9 of Elliott and pass him and just run away with the stage win.
Yeah, unfortunately for Chase Elliott, it's not going to lead to a stage win for him, I think, in my opinion. It certainly seems like Larson's going to be able to just easily run away with this thing here. And if they wind up being able to make it all the way to the end of the stage, I think it's a good strategy call, I guess, then for maybe Keselowski and Kevin Harvick, because they may have gained a few positions comparatively to where they were, and maybe even Daniel Suarez, depending on how, if they get ran down here and put outside the top 10. So if they can make it, I guess it's a decent strategy call, as there's already a pass for the lead from Kyle Larson.
Yeah, there he goes. Around the left-hand side, he might even be clear here. I mean, actually, we've seen these guys have no problem on the left-hand side of this right carousel. Do that right there, get clear. So Kyle Larson goes from 16th place on fresh tires, runs down the leader of Chase Elliott, passes So many cars there, no trouble whatsoever for Larson in that Nations Guard Chevrolet Camaro. Puts himself out front. Clearly, you can see they're staying out once again with Elliott and them. But I mean, no matter what happens, Jay, so far a masterful drive right there in stage two, at least from Kyle Larson.
Definitely. Watching him to go through the field like that is just it's a thing of beauty with how good he is and with how aggressive he can be as well in some of these drivers who don't want to get out of his way. It was nice to see. It was fun to see. And yeah, I think at the moment it's really working out for Daniel Suarez. I know he's got some guys that are right on him, but I just want to point out that Suarez so far is running really well comparatively to where he was, and he's also sticking with these guys really well as well. So wow, I just used that well like that. Anyways, I think that he'll be able to stay inside the top 10 over these next couple of laps, and I think that's probably going to be the one person that was a good call for, and Brad Keselowski.
If he can make it to the end, of course, we still don't know if they can. It
I
just
certainly at this point think that they're going to be staying out to the end of the stage too. If they don't, that raises even more question marks for me as to why they tried this. If they can make it this far but can't make it all the way.
nonetheless, a weird situation with the pit strategy. Suarez, yeah, like Jay mentioned, holding on really well, holding on currently to seventh place. Almirola is there. Oh, he's going to make a move. Oh, just about got into the Ryan Blaney right there. That was a little bit close, as it looks like the 47 just moved the 22 there, going into the left-hander, but no damage there. But Logano, he's got some speed even with that right side damage. He's trying to get towards that top 10, but Daniel Suarez now actually losing a spot to Eric Almirola in the 10. So that's going to put him down to P8, but he does have a decent gap there to drivers like Chastain and Joey Logano as well. So nonetheless, I mean, a great stage two this has been so far. Alex Bowman right there trying to work his way forward, still not having the race he wants, of course, here in Circuit of the Americas. He is still down in the 20s. Actually, he's running worse than he was in stage one. So not what he's been looking for. I see some damage now, actually, on the 14 and the 23. Bubba Wallace has some rear end damage. So it looks like
I
all of a
was
sudden they came together, Jay.
Yeah, I was gonna mention when you were following down in Bowman down into the corner there, I saw some little bits on the track, and that's usually an indication of in this game of the contact being made. And I would say that was we've certainly found it there between the 14 and the 23. That is a hefty amount of damage there for the 14.
That yeah, I mean, we might see him actually come in this time by. We're gonna get a look at what happened here. We're just gonna see if that 14 maybe decides to bring it into the pit lane, because that is quite a significant amount of damage. Now Chase Elliott, by the way, under pressure from another guy that pitted, William Byron. So we're gonna have to see if he can even hold on to second place. But the 14, yeah, he's gonna come into the pit lane. Bubba's gonna stay out on the track. Obviously, not a whole lot of damage there, but my guess is the 14 ran into the back of the 43 here. So we're gonna get a quick look at what just happened there to spark that contact between Chase Briscoe and Bubba Wallace. But first things first, there's the 24 William Byron. We're going to see if we can complete the pass on his HMS teammate Kyle Larson. By the way, 5 seconds up the road now after making that pit call there, as Elliott is not going to give up very easily, as he's going to fight back again now, as these two got to be careful, their teammates, and sure enough, Byron will get him right there though. So now let's get a look at what happened between the 23 and the 14. So here's the replay of Briscoe and Bubba. Jay, what looks like happens here?
Well, much like earlier in the race, what we've seen with several cars, just a guy missing that corner, and unfortunately for Bubba Wallace, Chase Briscoe really missed the corner and slammed into him pretty hard. Gave Chase Briscoe a ton of damage, and Bubba Wallace's rear end is also destroyed. I think Bubba Wallace might be okay. As long as that fuel cell didn't get damaged, he might be all right here. Losing a rear end is not terrible for a road course, but Chase Briscoe, of course, that's a ton of damage to that front end, and I have to think that's performance affecting.
So there's the look now at the 14's front bumper. It is completely gone. So definitely not what they wanted. The rookie, he's been actually performing quite a bit better lately now. As by the way, one update, the 37 of Ryan Preece has actually joined Denny Hamlin in the DNF part of the race. He is out with a valve issue. Hamlin's was an ignition. You can see, Jay, those fresh tires obviously were the way to go, because Byron, he's even long gone. Kyle Larson's long gone. And now Elliott, oh, he's coming into the pit lane with 2 laps to go once they cross the line. So now, I mean, what happens here? I mean, obviously Elliott, he's going to have the luxury potentially, Jay, of maybe he can stay out at the end of the stage and then maybe retake the lead.
Highly possible that he does that. He won't have the advantage of fresh tires, though, like Kyle Larson does now. Technically, he's going to have older tires compared to Kyle Larson. It'll only be 2 laps, but it certainly seems like to me, especially with the advantage Larson's been able to pull away so quickly here, it certainly seems like to me that fresh tires actually mean a ton.
It's a weird stage we're having here now as Almirola is moving up the order as well. So I mean, this is going to be weird, but one luxury Chase Elliott has now is, Jay, we've seen the guys at the front of the pack under caution all pile into each other. Elliott's going to be, as we have other cars as well pitting, but Elliott's going to be at the back now at the end of the stage. So honestly, he's going to be in a safe zone. He's not going to worry about having damage. Kyle Larson, the season he's been having, the only thing that comes to mind is somehow under this caution, he's going to get just annihilated from behind, turned around, and then his whole race is going to come to an end. It's actually the caution is out. What in the world has happened here? Circuit of the Americas cautions out. That's going to end the stage as well as, I mean, I stand by what I just said, Jay. I mean, obviously, Elliott now, I mean, at least he's going to be at the back. But what if these guys pit now, and then Elliott retakes the lead and all of a sudden wins stage 2?
That could certainly be an interesting play there. If that is indeed what happens, I mean, Chase Elliott and his team are absolute masterminds. They can tell the future. I need to ask him what lottery card to buy, because that I don't know. The only thing I can think of here is the fact that how far behind Chase Elliott is maybe these guys can get to pit road before he catches them. I know there's going to be an entire lap under caution. He's certainly going to catch. So I don't know. Maybe that's what happens, and if it does, holy crap!
I think I found the reasoning for the caution. That 47 is pretty destroyed, pretty banged up. So we'll get a look. But obviously, what's more important here is Kyle Larson is going to be at risk here, along with probably honestly, pretty much everybody in the top 10 or so is at risk of severely damaging their cars under caution. This could be the final caution.
I think the advantage here for Larson is that he has almost a 7-second gap. I think that actually may be an advantage for the entire field as well, because he's going to catch the pace car and the pace car will get sped back up. So we may not see the issue happen this time around. But even if it does, I think Larson will be clear because the pace car will be sped back up and out.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Catches him.
And keep in mind, this is the final lap of the stage, so here's what could potentially happen. Here you see this issue already happening, but yeah, I think Jay's got a good point. We should actually not have this issue. But what if, so Kyle Larson, if he pits this lap, you think, okay, he's going to win the stage, but the start-finish line is on here a little bit up the track a little bit. So if Chase Elliott stays out, he could pass Kyle Larson moments before the line and win the stage still. So a whole bunch of stuff. Everybody is going to get through here clean, so we should be in good shape. So we're going to stick around for the pit stop, first of all, and see what happens there. Actually, you know what? We got enough time. We're going to go and take a look at the reasoning for the caution, as it is going to take a little bit for these guys to get around. So let's get a look and see if we can find what brought out that caution here, as we're under caution on the final lap in Stage 2 at Circuit of the Americas. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., sure enough, is the reason for the caution right here. Actually, the 41 turns him is what happens into the guardrail right here. You're going to see him go boom right into there. And that's actually not it. So he gets the car back collected here. I'm not sure if the caution was out quite yet at this point, but it was sure enough about to be out. Right here, he slides back into traffic, takes out the 8 of Reddick, and then, hold on, he goes crashing into the wall, damages the left side of the car. At this point now, the caution has come out, but a chaotic ending potentially here to Stage 2 now, as he nearly gets just slammed from behind as well, as we're actually going to get an onboard look from that 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. On board right here with that 47, so he just innocently gets turned by the 41 of Cole Custer, and then into that guardrail he goes. He gets the car back collected, and this is where it just gets crazy. He really needs to be more aware of his surroundings, because he comes down track right there, just turns the 8 car right around, he gets turned, and then, well, he's going to go slamming into this wall right here. A really awkward place to hit, by the way, but gets the car back going anyways, and that would be the reasoning for the caution here in Circuit of the Americas. So now here we are back at the live scene, and these guys are getting ready to come around now to the pit lane. So it's going to be very, very interesting here to see what happens. Is Kyle Larson going to give up the stage victory to come into the pit lane? As of right now, it does not look like he's coming, but look at this behind him. The 24 Byron comes in, and we talked about Kyle Larson finding a way to throw away race victories. I think we found today's way of doing that, because everybody is coming in from the looks of it. There is maybe, okay, we got Cole Custer staying out, and the 43 of Eric Jones. We got the 16 of Gralla. Is Chase Elliott staying out? Is another big question here. I would assume he is, and yes, sure enough, Chase Elliott will remain on the track. The 14 of Briscoe, he is all over the place. I got no idea what's going on with him. But I'm pretty sure Kyle Larson, he has a lot of speed in that 5 course, so it might not be over. And we know everybody has to pit one more time, so it might not be the end of the line for him, but clearly if he loses this race, for sure, that's right there absolutely how he lost it now. So let's just make sure everybody gets out of the pit lane cleanly, and they do. But wow, and once again, I mean, Larson does get the stage 1 victory, in the order you see currently on the left side of your screen with the leaderboard is showing off the order to end stage 2. So now we're going to go, though, for a quick break here from Circuit of the Americas and come back and bring you guys to the start of this third and final stage in what has been a bit of a wacky race here in COTA. Back from Circuit of the Americas here, getting ready to go green for stage 3. Kyle Larson, it is 20 laps to go, which means everybody has to pit one more time at least. So it should be one stop for pretty much everybody. Actually, the 14, he's going to come in right here. So he decides he can't make it. Interesting call. We got these stack ups. These kind of happen every time. So we're getting ready to go green now. And Jay, Kyle Larson, and about the first 7, 8 drivers stayed out. And William Byron's the first one on fresh tires. We saw what happened for Kyle Larson on fresh tires. I think it's kind of baffling seeing that he decided to stay out on old tires here to start the final stage, the most important stage of the race.
Yeah, extremely surprising to me that he saw what happened when he himself had fresh tires and he decided to go with not pitting this time around. I think it's an okay call for Chase Elliott because he only had to run a couple of laps. But for Kyle Larson, he's going to have to pit in 7 laps or so. So really questionable, and he's just also going to be down on tires. William Byron is going to be so much quicker than him on tires, and so is Chase Elliott. And we saw how that really worked there in stage 2. Tires here are extremely important.
So Larson leads the way through the S's, like we said. I think Elliott, oh, there goes the 4 of Harvick. Around goes Kevin Harvick. And Kurt Busch as well. Off the track they go. I think it's just 2 cars. The caution is potentially, I don't see any caution lights yet. We're going to get a look at the pace car in just a moment to verify, but I think it's about to get even crazier. They somehow, so far, so good. They're all hitting each other. The 62 of Gregson. Oh, the 8 gets turned into the guardrail. And wow, that's, I think, the 3rd time today that there's been issues for him. No caution. We're still green. A chaotic start on this first and opening lap of the stage. Honestly, that's, Jay, probably good for drivers like Larson and Elliott that have stayed green right there to keep that gap between themselves and William Byron.
Yeah, I think it's. I still don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that caution didn't come out there, because if it does come out, I mean, it gives Larson a chance to pit, but he would lose all that track position, and no matter what, he's going to wind up losing track position unless they get a caution around the time that he needs to pit. That's the thing I think Larson, Cole Custer, Chase Elliott, not really even Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott's almost on this fresh strategy as well. But that's the thing I think a lot of these guys who stayed out have to hope for is a caution within a couple of laps of the restart here. And then maybe everybody will wind up pitting just because they'll be able to make it to the end if that happens. So that's got to be the hope here for a caution. If there's not a caution that comes out, though, I think Larson has thrown away another win.
Elliott gets around, and I mean, he has quite a bit fresher tires than Kyle Larson, at least 7 or 8 laps or so. So he very well could run down that 5 of Larson, who's probably, I would think, if basing off of what Elliott did, he's probably going to stay out till maybe lap 27, 28. Clearly, you can see he's already closing that gap to Larson. So William Byron trying to work his way through with the freshest tires of anybody right now in the top 10 pretty much now. But there's Truex coming into the pit lane. He's got more damage on that 19 car. Bubba Wallace is coming in. These ones here, the 23, the 22, and the 4. So we actually have all these guys. These right here, they're just straight up hitting. This is not due to incidents that maybe the 7 is. And as well as in 19, but drivers like Harvick and them, I think they're just downright pitting because they think that they got to come in right now. So very, very early, of course. But we need to get a look, of course, in momentarily of what happened to bring out that incident there with Tyler Reddick once again being involved. He was literally just involved in the stage 2 ending incident as well. So there you see Byron trying to make his way forwards, but he's kind of struggling right now. So he's got to get a move on. He's going to get past the 16 right there. Actually, a really clean pass right there. But Elliott, he is closing in on the back of Larson. But while that builds up, we're going to get a quick look at what that incident was here at the start of this third and final stage. Kevin Harvick makes a bit of a mistake right here through the S's. Suarez makes some contact with him, and then Harvick actually just comes across the front end of the one car, goes sailing off towards the guardrail, brings Kurt Busch with him, and then Jay, for some reason, they decide to come back on track right in front of traffic.
Yeah, they decided to come back on track here, right into a turn and right into BJ McLeod in the 78 and Noah Gregson as well. There's some contact made with Noah Gregson, but he's able to keep it clean, and they keep going through, and then Gregson comes back across and nails a couple of cars. That puts the 8 in a precarious position, and the 7 absolutely dumps Tyler Reddick. And unfortunately for Reddick, that's just been the story of his day so far. I believe 3 incidents now in his car. Look at that car. That car is destroyed.
So yeah, Tyler Reddick with quite a bit of damage here today. Once again, actually, he's surprisingly still in the race, but now Kyle Larson under a lot of pressure from Chase Elliott now, as they've really been the class of the field all day long, and so far it's come down to strategy to split them up both times. And Elliott, he is all over the back right here. We could maybe even see a bump and run potentially. He is lined up right with that back of Kyle Larson. Maybe could make a move right here. Larson a little bit wide. For now, though, he defends well over the 9, but it looks like Elliott's going to pounce on it right here. And Jay, we know he has fresher tires, so, I mean, overall, it should just be a lot easier for Elliott to make a move around the outside.
Yeah, I think he's going to get Larson here pretty easily. He's going to have the inside down into this corner, and even if he doesn't get the move made, we've seen guys all day long be able to make passes on the outside into this carousel, but it looks like Chase Elliott's going to have it cleared before they even get into the carousel.
So Chase Elliott in that Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet Camaro passes his Hendrick Motorsports teammate of Kyle Larson for the lead now. It's going to be interesting to see if Kyle Larson comes in. So we saw Elliott go, about 17 laps or so on his fuel run. So if Larson pits, probably next lap after, he can probably stretch it to the end of this race. So, but we've clearly seen that fresh tires is important. So you might want to stay out still as late as you can. But I mean, obviously, Elliott right now has a huge advantage. So Jay, I mean, Larson's got to make sure that he pits in time to where he can make sure that 9 car still just doesn't drive out too far.
Yeah, I think that he's got to leave himself out here as long as he can go, and then pit. Or he's got to pit as short as he can go. Let me restart that. He's got to pit as soon as he can to make it to the end, as there potentially could be a caution here if this 16 gets involved in anything else. He saves it. Let's see if he comes back on track into anyone. Little bit of contact with the 48. Maybe he should be okay here through here, though. There should be no caution coming out. But yeah, I think Larson's got to pit as soon as the window opens to it gets into the race. That's what I was trying to say. So I think as soon as that window opens, you have to get down pit road to not lose a lot of time.
And look at these guys in the midfield just going at it right now. Alex Bowman, he's had a miserable day once again here. He's now at least up in the top 20 P18 at the start of this lap. So he's slowly working his way forwards, but once again, not having the day he needs if he wants to be able to work his way into the playoffs. Kyle Busch, well, he's down in 29th with all that front end damage. So very unfortunate now as Cody Ware, he's off track. Into the guardrail. Is the caution out is really the question we have. It does not appear that there is a caution. No caution. Chase Elliott continuing to run away. Cody Ware has gotten the car going, but once again, another car off, and you notice there that 23, he is, looks like, now his car is clean, so I don't know why he's so far off right now, but all of a sudden, this third and final stage kicks off. We're having quite a bit of issues here, and as we see the 53 of Yaley trying to make a pass on Eric Jones, it looks calm enough to at least get a look at what has caused yet another incident, this time with Cody Ware, where we saw him earlier not give the 00 of Quinn Half any brakes, turned him around. Maybe a slim chance that Quinn Half maybe had something to do with that. So we're going to get a quick look at what just caused that incident for Cody Ware. Timmy Hill, the reason for Cody Ware going actually into the barrier, you're going to see some contact right there between the two, and they're just going to casually glide into the barriers, and Timmy Hill gets back going. Cody Ware actually was stuck there for a good 20-30 seconds potentially there, as Timmy Hill would recollect things and get back underway, but no caution comes out. We keep it green here from Circuit of the Americas. Back to the live scene there, you see the 51 of Cody Ware. I mean, Jay, so far it looks like we talked about it on the opening lap of this race that the S's have definitely, or were probably going to be the danger spot of the track here today, and so far I think that has proven to be a legitimate thing. I mean, they've been crashing quite a bit in the S's.
Yeah, a lot of these guys have just been sitting it aggressively for some reason, and when they do so, they just wind up driving right into the side of whoever they're around. And it's caused a lot of issues today, and I think they can easily be avoided. Just for some reason, they keep doing it. Larson's already on pit road, so here we go. This is starting.
And he should be able to make it to the end based off of what Elliott was able to pull off in stage 1 and 2. So it should be okay for Larson. And now we know that Chase Elliott, he cannot make it. Nobody that pitted at the end of stage 2 can make it. We already have seen some cars come into the pit lane like Kevin Harvick, Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, I believe, as well, and a few others like Corey LaJoie. So those guys are going to be really, really close. Kyle Larson should be fairly comfortable to make it to the end here. So we're gonna have to wait and see. Now, obviously, if a caution comes out, that changes a lot of stuff. And honestly, I mean, that would probably be Jay. I think we could agree the best case scenario is, I mean, if caution comes out right now for Kyle Larson, he's gonna get to stay out, go to the lead probably.
Yeah, and it'll also be good for him as well because he's not going to have to deal with this traffic. I'm not too sure where exactly he came out and all of this. It looks like I actually see him there back towards the end of this line. But if this stays green, he's going to have to deal with all of that traffic in front of him. And no matter what, fresh tires is not going to help you get through that. I mean, it'll help get through the traffic, but it's not going to help you as much because you're going to have to deal with traffic and be kind of slow. So the one advantage that Chase Elliott and all these guys up towards the front have is that they are indeed in clean air and not having to deal with slow traffic. And so even if they pit later, they might be at an advantage to Kyle Larson because they're not losing ground like Larson will be trying to fight through all these cars.
Now, I honestly think now the pressure is on this 24 car here. Byron, he was the driver with the freshest tires furthest up the line, so he's got to really make these tires and that strategy count right now. But he's still having a bit of a tough time making some moves past drivers like Christopher Bell, past drivers like Cole Custer. Christopher Bell right now, by the way, having a tremendous run. If he keeps it up, gets a top 10 today, he could be right back in that playoff picture. But Kyle Larson is the one, yeah, we got to keep an eye on here. So Larson, by the way, interestingly enough, Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano, they all pitted before Kyle Larson, but Larson actually was still able to stay out in front of them. So good strategy, at least from that standpoint so far. They're not too far back, but of course, he's got to get through the traffic as quickly as possible. And honestly, Jay, what you're probably hoping that if you're Kyle Larson, that everybody comes into the paint line before you get to these cars right here that are all just grouped up together, right?
Yeah, I would certainly hope so. Or at least I'm sure Larson is certainly hoping so. So that way he doesn't have to deal with, especially a line like this. I mean, if he catches that line before they pit, which I don't think he will, but if he does, I mean, that's just going to wind up holding him a ton. That specific line right there that you just showed, that's 10 or so cars all right there together that he's going to have to fight through every single one of them, and that's just going to make him lose even more time to Chase Elliott.
Going to be interesting to watch nonetheless. Larson quickly moving his way forwards. Cole Custer just came into the pit lane, by the way, from third place. So he is just rolling now, and Kyle Larson's already long gone. So, but we know now that Custer has about a lap fresher tires. That shouldn't make too much of a difference. I think the one we're going to really have to keep an eye on is Chase Elliott when he comes into the pit lane. But Larson already running down Anthony Alfredo, and then he's going to have Briscoe to deal with as well. And then, of course, this whole line of cars right here. So Larson definitely needs to hope that they pit before he gets there. And then, of course, a guy like Chase Elliott's hoping they do not pit and stay right in the way. So only 15 laps to go here from Circuit of the Americas. And now look at the lead that Chase Elliott has, almost 8 seconds up. So honestly, Jay, right now, I don't know what's going to happen here. Is Elliott going to be able to hold on, or what in the world is going to happen? Larson, he's got such fresh tires right now. He's going to be hauling the mail. He might come out in front of the 9, but then the 9's probably going to run him down in the closing laps.
Yeah, I think without a caution, Chase Elliott's got this thing won. That was honestly, I can't call it a smart strategy call. It was just a lucky strategy call. He got himself pitted a couple laps before the end of the stage, and then the caution winds up coming out before the stage ends, and he's able to keep track position and only be a couple spots behind Kyle Larson. And then by the time that Kyle Larson pits, he's way ahead of Kyle Larson. So I think without a caution here, that was the right strategy call for them. And Chase Elliott's got this thing won.
Now, of course, we've seen that a caution can come out anytime just with one little hiccup from somebody specifically through the S's. The S's are very touchy today, where we've seen a single car spin cause a caution, and then like a multi-car crash not cause any caution. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Elliott, though, continuing to drive away now, as it is pretty calm right here as Almirola is trying to make a pass on the 53 of J.J. Yaley, who's having a great run right now for Rick Ware Racing. But at the end of that lap, Elliott was 7.7 seconds ahead last time by, now 8.9 seconds ahead. So what we're going to do is go for a very quick break here on Circuit of the Americas and bring you guys to the finish of this race, and we're sure that green flag pit stops are about to heavily start to pick up here momentarily from Circuit of the Americas. Welcome back from Circuit of the Americas. Caution is out. I wouldn't say you missed anything because we don't even know what happened. But we do see that car right there of Kyle Busch with a lot of damage. Kyle Larson, of course, we already know. We've covered. He's made his pit stop. These guys still, by the way, are racing it back. So Larson, he's been working his way through traffic still. But Jay, I mean, we don't know what happened yet. We'll get a look. But, I mean, nonetheless, Kyle Larson, I think we can both agree, has once again found a way to throw his race away.
Yeah, I was thinking that the only way he'd win this race is if a caution came out. I didn't mean on lap 29 when he's still stuck in like 16th place or wherever he's around right now. That is going to hurt him massively. He's going to be put way back on track position. He's going to have no chance here. And I still think that probably gives Chase Elliott the win without another caution before the end of this race.
So we're going to wait to see if everybody gets through these S's cleanly before we look at the replay. It does appear, it looks like Kyle Busch is the reasoning for the caution. So Kyle Larson, of course, he has worked his way decently through the field. Right now, he's actually scored 23rd, but obviously, Jay, if he pits, he's got the same tires of everybody, then he's got to work his way up, you know, a whole bunch of spots now. As they're crossing the line, though, some other guys did pit there, and now that puts Larson in the top 20 of P19. So if he's 19th, I mean, Blaney, by the way, has a lot of damage as well, but honestly, his only option to even have a chance of being up front is staying out, but then everybody pits here, they're going to have the fresh tires and blow him away. So I don't see any way that Kyle Larson can pull something off here to win this race.
Yeah, the only thing that I think that happens here is he stays out, and I mean, I guess at this point, why not try it, right? Because you're already in 19th, and that's probably where you're going to finish if you stay out and it goes green. So I say stay out and then hope for a quick caution after this restart. And if that happens, I mean, boom, prime position. Well, actually, no, because nobody else is going to pit. So he'll still lose track position. So yeah, I agree with you actually. That Larson here is basically done.
So let's get a look, though, at what brought out that caution, which, I mean, turned any chance Kyle Larson potentially had upside down here in Circuit of the Americas. Two incidents in one. Once again, Ryan Blaney in the S's, of course, where it's been very prone to accidents today. You're going to see what happens right here with between himself and Ryan Newman in the 6 car. So right there, they come together, and Blaney's going to go crashing into the barrier and collect Newman as well. But that's not it. Jay, then we have something go wrong with Kyle Busch.
Well, yeah, of course we saw him have all this damage. He's coming through here, the S's, and then all of a sudden his engine expires. He blows up, and in slowing down, there it goes. There goes his engine. In slowing down, he pulls right back in front of Noah Gragson and gets nailed. And then Kyle Larson just barely gets past Noah Gragson here without getting any damage. So that was really close for Kyle Larson. But yeah, Kyle Busch blowing up and decides to stay on the track right in front of Noah Gragson and just gets nailed by him.
I mean, Jay, now, I mean, we once again see Kyle Busch. What a season it has been. And obviously today he might be 60 plus points below the cut line after today. It has been a horrendous season. A lot of the times it's been in his control, and there's been multiple times like this where there was nothing he could really do about the engine giving up. Of course, he stayed in the way of traffic, but still, just terrible luck for that 18 crew. Now, halfway through the regular season, they cannot afford any more races like this.
Yeah, really not a good day for Joe Gibbs as a whole, as well as we saw Hamlin had the issue earlier. Now all of a sudden Kyle Busch has an issue. So when I mentioned earlier, I don't know. Yeah, Truex as well. I don't know what exactly the issue is for Kyle Busch yet. They haven't listed it, but I would have to think that maybe it'll be the same thing, ignition. So maybe there's something wrong with those Joe Gibbs cars across the board. And unfortunately for Truex, he's had issues that don't involve mechanical. He's just had a bad day all overall. And then obviously the 20 has just been, running where the 20 is. So I think he's up here because of strategy at the moment. But he's really Joe Gibbs' only hope right now at the moment.
So they should be pitting this time by, and we're probably going to have a 9-lap dash to decide the race here. So it's going to get really interesting to see what happens here. I mean, Larson's only chance to be up front is stay out, but of course he's not going to have any fresh tires. So what if these guys decide to stay out? They are not. Oh, the 24 though. Okay, so maybe this is going to spice things up. So the 9, the 20, they come in. Byron, he pitted at the end of stage 2. So what it looks like is the guys that pitted last time are staying out here.
They
So
were they were very
that
close
was
to
awkward.
making it already at the start of stage 3. So with a caution here, they probably can make it to the end of the race. They can save enough fuel. So I think they can make it. So that I don't know if that helps or hurts Kyle Larson, honestly.
I think that throws us another curveball at least.
It certainly does with having Chase Elliott behind him. Yeah. So Larson's going to be around a lot of cars who've stayed out, so he's not going to get his doors blown off, but he's still going to have to make up ground on cars in front of him, who he does have fresher tires than those cars, but still got to get around him, and that's going to be a lot to overcome in only what 8 laps or so when we restart here.
So Larson, he's going to be 13th, and he has the freshest tires in the top 13. But then you go back 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd. Chase Elliott, who won the race off of the pit lane, as there's a bit of a stack up there. I saw some pieces, but it looks like we're okay. But Elliott down in about 22nd place has the legitimately freshest tires. So, what 9 positions between Larson and Elliott. So now all of a sudden, Jay, we know Larson's got fresher tires than everybody in front of him, but Elliott has fresher tires than everybody in front of him. So now it's like a race of who can get through the traffic the quickest potentially.
You know, the one thing that we're also going to see for the first time as well is we're going to have lap cars lining up beside the leaders. I think we're going to have Truex, and I don't know if there's any more that are actually a lap down that are running, but I know for a fact that Truex is a couple of laps down, so he will be up there as well. And I don't know if he's going to be a roadblock or maybe he's got the pace in the car where he'll just kind of drive away from them and not be a factor because I assume they're all on the same set of tires. Uh, but this is the first time that we will see lap cars kind of have some kind of effect on the race here.
And I'll be honest, I have absolutely no idea what to expect here. Now, I mean, what a race it's been. Stage 1 was kind of lackluster to say the least, but ever since stage 2 got going, things have really picked up in just, I don't know, the craziness factor. So we will be going green this time by. We still got a little bit till they get there, so we're going to go for a very, very quick break and come back here in just a couple moments' time and get ready to go green for what could be potentially the final restart of the race here from Circuit of the Americas. Getting ready to go back green here from Circuit of the Americas. It will be 9 laps to go. And Jay, I mean, the S's, we know how dangerous they are. I feel like everybody's going to be pushing the issue here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a multi-car incident about to occur.
Yeah, I think Larson needs to be careful as well about how aggressive he is here. I mean, we know he has the fresher tires, and he's also behind some slower cars as well. So he's going to be able to make up some positions here pretty quickly, I think. But he's got to be careful about how he does it because he's got to remember the S's are the trouble spot. They've been the trouble spot all day long. So if he tries to make an aggressive move through there, he could wind up hurting himself more than he would if he just sat behind him until the end and then got around them on the back straightaway.
3 wide into
They're already
turns 1.
wide going into it.
Kurt Busch is trying to force the issue. Kyle Larson's right there. Chase Elliott's a little bit down the order there. They had that stack up, so it's going to take him a little bit to get caught back up. So do keep that in mind. But of course, we're watching Kyle Larson. I mean, Byron, of course, hoping that drivers like Larson and Elliott have a terrible time getting their way through traffic. So we're going to keep an eye on that 5 car specifically right here for the time being. As I see him, he turns the 96. Kyle Larson has turned the 96 of Ty Dillon around, and that slows him down. He loses some positions out of that. Chase Elliott, where's he? He's just down here. From the looks of it, it's staying green. But Larson, I mean, you would expect him to be patient, and instead he gets aggressive, turns the 96 around, and costs himself a few positions now as he's going to try and get back going. So, wow, I think probably the last guy we expected to see turning someone around here on this restart, Jay.
Yeah, he really didn't need to have that happen either. I mean, you can dump a guy, sure, but do it and not lose positions. And he lost a couple of spots there that he had already gained off the restart, and that's really not going to be good for him here. He instead of going for the 42, he's having to pass back the double
Oh,
zero. And something going on in there, but Chase Elliott has huge damage to the rear end.
The 9 of Elliott, and all of a sudden this opens a door for Kyle Larson to maybe be comfortable here if he can get on the move, of course. Elliott with troubles, Larson with some issues as well, turning a car around, and we got a bit of a checkup going on in front of us now. We're going to, of course, get a look at what just happened with everybody here momentarily as, oh, the 9 just drove into the back of the 12, gives himself potentially a little bit of front end damage. The 20 has a bunch of damage. He was in the mix as well. Harvick has some damage on the front end. The 43, and all of a sudden here, things getting crazy on this late race restart. William Byron leading the way, and Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman in the top 10, by the way. But Larson, he is starting to get a move on it here. But does he have enough time now? As you look through the rest of these cars, I mean, look at the damage on the 9 car. Elliott's chances. And what looked like he was in the perfect position to be in to win this race, all of a sudden that's going to come to an end. So Elliott, oh wow, I don't even know what to say now, Jay. I mean, what a shakeup.
Track position. That's all that comes down to. Is just what good track position does for you. You get out of all that mess. And unfortunately for Chase Elliott, he had to pit. I mean, he absolutely had to. There was
Oh, he's
no
staying out.
staying out there to get to the end.
Oh, you meant there.
And yeah. And so, that just put him in a bad spot where he was around all the guys who just make mistakes and stuff. And unfortunately, he's involved in someone else's mess. I assume we haven't seen a replay, so it very well could have been something he caused for himself. But yeah, just an unfortunate end to Chase Elliott's competitiveness of this race, where he looked like he should have won.
We'll get a look at it momentarily here. We're just going to see what happens through the S's. I mean, Kyle Larson now, I mean, is in the best
He's in
position.
the top 10.
He's in the top 10, in the best spot with those tires. But he really has to get a move on with it here if he wants to run those guys down. Byron, honestly, isn't too far up the road here, but Larson needs to be gaining, a minimum of 1 position per lap right now. And we're going to wait to see if he can maybe get past these 3 cars right here all in one straightaway. Then we'll give you guys a look at what brought, or not the caution, but what caused that incident, as the 42's giving the bumper to the 5 of Larson. Larson hangs on to it there, but the 42 not afraid to get aggressive here. But let's just see what Larson's able to do down this long back straightaway now, as it appears he does have a run potentially on the back of Kurt Busch. Not a big one, but I mean, he's got to get aggressive. He might send it up the inside right here, but now you got the 48 of Alex Bowman, who's having a tremendous run all of a sudden. Jay, I mean, out of nowhere, Bowman's in a spot to gain a bunch of points as well.
He's looked really strong since the restart as well. I noticed right off the restart, he went 3 wide immediately and made up a couple of positions, and he's looked strong so far since the restart. Let's hope that he is able to keep that up and doesn't put himself in a spot where he gets turned or anything. Because if there's any guy in this field right now that needs a good finish, it's Alex Bowman.
Daniel Suarez, by the way, is still hanging on to a good run. He got up there with strategy, and he's been making it count. Larson's still struggling to make these passes as Harvick's still in the pit lane, but William Byron leading the way. Almirola, though, not too far back. Once again, Almirola in position to have a good run. Briscoe, who stayed out of trouble, has got some damage. But now, real quick, let's get a look at those incidents there at this restart here, just recently here from Circuit of the Americas. Here's a look at Kyle Larson turning the 96 of Ty Dillon right there through the S's. Wastes no time and messes himself over. Loses 2 additional positions from him turning the 96 of Ty Dillon. So in the end, gained nothing out of that. But then now as they were getting back going here, actually the 96 just about causes an incident. But then Jay, for Chase Elliott, everything's about to go downhill here in about probably 10 seconds or so.
Yeah, they're going down this straightaway here to get themselves onto the long straightaway, and of course this is a very slow corner coming up. They all have to get slowed down. It's almost like a miniature hairpin. That's kind of the speed you're going. Is everybody kind of just sends it in here, and Logano sends it in on his rear end and then just dumps Chase Elliott, and Elliott spins right around in front of Christopher Bell, and then Ricky Stenhouse as well. Is there's also other incidences that happened up ahead of this, because I know the 43 had some damage to his front end as well. So obviously these guys are being super aggressive and full sending into these corners.
Here's a look at Kyle Larson turning the 96 of Ty Dillon right there through the S's. Wastes no time and messes himself over. Loses 2 additional positions from him turning the 96 of Ty Dillon. So in the end, gained nothing out of that. But then now as they were getting back going here, actually the 96 just about causes an incident. But then Jay, for Chase Elliott, everything's about to go downhill here in about probably 10 seconds or so.
Yeah, they're going down this straightaway here to get themselves onto the long straightaway, and of course this is a very slow corner coming up. They all have to get slowed down. It's almost like a miniature hairpin. That's kind of the speed you're going. Is everybody kind of just sends it in here, and Logano sends it in on his rear end and then just dumps Chase Elliott. And Elliott spins right around in front of Christopher Bell and then Ricky Stenhouse as well. Is there is also other incidences that happened up ahead of this, because I know the 43 had some damage to his front end as well. So obviously these guys are being super aggressive and full sending into these corners.
So now at the end of the long straightaway, right here, you see a huge checkup. The 43, the 41, the 14, the 19, the 4, they're all coming together. Somehow they all don't crash, but they all keep it straight, but all of them have significant damage, and they got to fix that. Specifically, guys like the 43, and I mean the 4 of Harvick. But wow, what a mess it has turned into here in Circuit of the Americas. And at the end of all of that recapping of all those incidents, we are still under green flag conditions here late in Circuit of the Americas. So here we are back at the live scene. Chase Elliott, of course, has his day ruined by Joey Logano now, as I'm sure he's not the biggest Logano fan, to say the least. Eric Jones, by the way, is out. The 15 of Davison had a suspension issue from the looks of it. And Kyle Busch, they actually deemed his DNF because of an accident, so we're not going to get to see exactly what failed on that number 18 Toyota Camry. So a couple guys now out of this race, of course, but now the story, of course, Jay, with 7 laps to go, is Kyle Larson. He made a pass on Kurt Busch there while we were looking away to move up into 9th place, but I mean, he's about 5 seconds behind. Does he have enough time to work his way through traffic and run down his teammate William Byron, do you think?
I don't know if he does at this point. He's spent a little too much time getting around some of these guys back here at the bottom of the top 10. I think it took him too long to get around Kurt Busch. I think he'll be able to easily get around McDowell here, just because we know there's a big time pace difference, and he's right on his rear bumper going onto this long straightaway. But it's taken him a little bit too much time to get through this traffic here. I expected him to get through it a lot faster than he has.
And I mean, one caution could give him a bit of a chance, but he needs that caution as early as possible, because if we have a caution maybe in lap 38, of course that would put an end to the race. So he needs the caution really to come as quick as possible, if that's what he would, of course, like to help him out. But now here he is making a pass on McDowell down towards the left-hander here. So that will put him into 8th place, but obviously running out of time, and he's got to get past his teammate of Alex Bowman. He's got to pass the 21 of Matt DiBenedetto, the 2 of Kozlowski, the 17, the 99, and the 10, who's actually closing in on the back of William Byron. Byron's been in position one time already to win this season. That was at Martinsville. They ended up losing their chance under the pit stops, and that put Elliott and Larson in position to go at it. Almirola, he has been not really a driver we expect to see doing so well, leading the overall standings. He lucked into a win earlier this season. He made a last lap pass on Denny Hamlin a few weeks ago to win. So, I mean, honestly, both races he's won, he was never, ever in the mix throughout the first 3/4 of the race probably, and then he was able to get right in it at the end. So he's kind of replicating that here today so far, as we look through these other cars with a lot of damage. Elliott continuing to stay out on the track here, hoping they can get the best finish they can. Of course, Kyle Larson is still struggling with 6 laps to go. He really has to get a move on it now, as he's running out of time very quick. But Jay, I mean, if Bowman can hang on here to a top 10, I mean, a big day for him now. But I mean, at the same time, guys, he has to beat like DiBenedetto, Kozlowski, I mean, Suarez even. I mean, they're all running right in front of him.
I guess the good thing for Larson is even though he only gained a couple of spots and he hasn't gotten himself to where he's free to go at Byron yet, he still gained time that lap. He gained from I think about 5.5 seconds or so down to 4.8 seconds. So he's still able to gain on the leader while he's getting through the traffic, and I think that's probably the most positive thing he can look at, is that even though he's having to deal with traffic, he's not losing a ton of time to William Byron. But I mean, 5 seconds at this point is still a lot to overcome, I think.
And he's definitely, I mean, he's got to probably go for a pass right here on Bowman, and then hope that he can maybe run down the 21 by the end of the long straightaway. That would be a good opportunity, but it's not going to happen here. So he's going to have to focus on this 48 here down this straightaway now, as William Byron trying to hold off. I mean, Daniel Suarez all of a sudden is kind of creeping into the picture. Now his strategy got them in the top 10, and then they've been making it work now. As Larson, though, needs to complete this pass here. He's got to get this 48 in this next turn. Is he close enough? He has the draft, but now the 48 looks like he's going to go a little bit defensive. Yes, he is going to look up the inside of the 21, but this could still help Larson if he's able to follow through on that 48 now. But honestly, actually, no, that's not going to help Larson, because they're going side by side. And now where does Larson go? Pretty much nowhere. He's going to have to hope that he can follow through somewhere. But no, this is, I mean, everything now all of a sudden, Jay's going against his 5 car, as he might be able to pull off a pass, though.
I think Bowman trying that move there might have been the saving grace for Larson. But the thing is he's going to be on the inside in this carousel, and we've seen the outside be the dominant line there. So I think he's going to have to go one more time. Maybe not. Actually, I guess fresh tires
Wow.
prevail no matter what.
Oh, hold up.
So Larson may be okay here if he can stay around Bowman. Never mind. He's going to fall back behind him and have to try again.
And look at the time he lost because of that. Larson doing everything in his own power to throw his chances away. I mean, everything he's done since the restart has been at his own fault. So now Almirola starting to lose contact with Byron, and Daniel Suarez getting close into the attacking range. It'll be just 5 laps to go. And 5 laps, still a good chunk of time here, so it's not the end of the world. Kyle Larson there, 4.8 seconds now to 5.4, and all he's going to do here is just chill behind his team in the Bowman. He needs to be aggressive, needs to make some moves, needs to dive bomb if he needs to, but he's not doing it. So Larson, I mean, no fault other than his own if he loses this race at this point now. But once again, another story of Kyle Larson in position to go for a race victory, and it's not going to happen here today if he doesn't get a move on it as soon as possible. He needs to be in front of that 48 and even the 21 probably by the end of this lap if he wants any chance whatsoever. Now, as you see, the 9 car Valiant down the order, still actually running P20, of course. I mean, he was going for the race win before that all went down with the whole pit stops and the incident. Now he's actually going to try and make a pass there on Austin Dillon. But Jay, I mean, overall, I think that we can still consider this race a success in terms of the entertainment factor. A lot of stuff happened today, and no matter what the outcome is, so far, a pretty entertaining race here in Circuit of the Americas.
It's been a good race too. There's actually been some racing going on. We've seen some guys have to come through the field a couple of times. We've seen some different strategies happen that has led to guys getting in positions now where they normally wouldn't have been, like Daniel Suarez in 3rd place, or really Chris Buescher there in 4th place. So strategy has certainly played a big part of this race so far. And honestly, I've enjoyed it. I really hope that NASCAR comes back here again next year, because like this race in NR, I think we'll see a race kind of like this in real life as well.
I think Kyle Larson probably right now hates Alex Bowman. He tries that same move, and he knows that his chances of now doing anything are pretty much over now. As up ahead, Chris Buescher having a really good run as well. As Larson, once again, this is exactly what happened last lap. So I'm going to assume we're going to get probably the exact same outcome here momentarily now as Larson, try to probably go up the right-hand side through the carousel. Maybe if he can just somehow get lucky and get clear of that 48, he'll be able to pull something off, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen now. As right there, he kind of checks up, and sure enough, the 48, he's going to go zooming on by on that left-hand side. So now at this point, we can pretty much right off Kyle Larson now. If a caution comes out within maybe another lap, they can still have a restart, but not looking like that's going to happen right now. As we look through the field, it's pretty clean right now, single file. No one's going crazy right now, so we'll have to wait and see, of course, what happens now. As Larson might make a move right here. He's going to peek the nose on that 48, but he's got to be up the inside. There he goes. He might get there into turns 1. It is now only 4 laps to go, and you see he's now 6 seconds behind there. As sure enough, he's going to actually make the pass, move up into 7th place. So there's a pass, but I mean, Jay, probably too late for that number 5 team.
That pass needed to happen 2 laps ago. He was being a little bit too courteous to his teammate there, and his teammate didn't want to give him anything either. So you can't blame Bowman. I mean, it's the end of the race. You can't just give spots up. So certainly, I think Larson could have been more aggressive there. I mean, like he's being on the 21 right now, he should have been that aggressive towards his teammate. And unfortunately for Larson, the fact that he just kind of sat there for a couple laps is what I think is now ended his chances.
Thought Larson was potentially going to turn the 21 for a second there, as he is all over the back of Matt DiBenedetto there. As if he could just make a move right here, that would be great for him, but once again, just not aggressive enough going down through there. So he's going to have to wait again as Suarez is trying to get to that 10 of Almirola, but right now it's looking really good for William Byron. Probably not the track we would expect Byron to pick up that first win on the season, but still he's got 3 long laps for anything can happen. Now as Larson, he might actually pass that 21 of DiBenedetto here. I mean, if he can get clear somehow of the 2 and the 17, who knows what can happen now. I mean, it's still a very, very big gap, as it looks like the 2 might try to make a move there. No, he's not going to. He's going to tuck in behind, but Larson gets clear, and he just damaged his own car. He drove right into the back of the 2 of Keselowski and just made it even worse for himself and his team now, as it's not going to be too much of a big deal. But goodness gracious, Larson doing everything possible here, Jay, since this restart to just screw up his own chances.
Yeah, you can't fault him for trying to be aggressive there. Just went over bounds, and obviously drove into the corner way too deep and slammed to the rear end of Keselowski there. I don't know if that's going to hurt him too bad, but at the moment, Larson needed every single advantage that that he could get, and any kind of damage or any kind of performance impacting damage that he got there is not going to help him. He needed every little bit he could get. He needed every bit of speed out of the car, and he needed every bit out of the tires as well. So I think that right there, no matter what, secures the fact that he is not going to win this race.
Gets a really good exit there, but yeah, it's only going to be 3 laps to go once they cross the line. Larson might try to make a move up the inside of Keselowski, but even if he gets past Keselowski this lap, gets past Chris Buescher maybe on the long back straightaway, he's going to have 2 laps to make up 6 seconds. Just not going to happen for that number 5 of Kyle Larson at this point now. But I mean, still a decent recovery they are having now, but it looks like it's all in favor right now of William Byron. I mean, he's not quite able to pull away from Eric Almirola, so I mean, we never know. You could maybe see some type of engine failure or something come out of nowhere. So we'll have to wait and see there. But if a caution comes out now, that would put an end to this race. So I'm sure, oh, Larson with a bit of a mistake actually right there now, as he was hoping to probably be able to attack on the 17, but instead he goes a little bit wide, hurting his own chances once more now. So he's going to probably try and set up that 17 down the back straight, but then Jay, once again, he's only going to have 2.5 laps to do anything. And I mean, we know he has a lot fresher tires, but obviously, I mean, 6 seconds, I mean, virtually impossible to make up.
Once he gets around to 17, I think we'll see him start to gain ground, and he could maybe go at Daniel Suarez. But there's no chance he gets to the leader here. That's way too much ground to make up. It's honestly even probably too much ground to make up to Daniel Suarez. But at the very least, we'll get to see the kind of pace he has in the car if he gets around to 17 here.
There he goes, trying to make a move. Up ahead, it looks like that 10 is closing a little bit on that 24, so might not be over yet between them two. But here's Larson even right now with the 17 down towards this 90-degree left-hand turn, a very heavy braking zone. Buescher has the advantage into the corner, but Larson right there, they're going to still be side by side up front. There you see the 10 car is getting closer and closer. So, like I said, it might not be over between those two now. As Daniel Suarez, maybe if those two come together somehow in the S's, if they get going at it for the lead, Suarez could be in prime position. Or even if Suarez got collected, all of a sudden Kyle Larson comes through. So you never know what's going to happen. It might just be a nice calm finish. But Larson clear of the 17, so he moves up into the 4th position now here in Circuit of the Americas. But Almirola actually lost some time right there. But does he have enough time? But now, I mean, Jay, we look in the top 3. We know Suarez is a pretty solid road course racer. But these front 2, I mean, even before the pit stops and whatnot, these are not the 2 names we expect to be running up here, leading the way in the final 2 laps.
Certainly, with the way this race was going, you thought it was going to come down to either Chase Elliott or Kyle Larson, and unfortunately, Larson does kind of have a chance at the moment, but not really, and Chase Elliott has no chance at all. So both of those teams had stuff go wrong. The strategy calls in the end for both teams did not wind up playing out, and for the 24, he was running decent all day long, and he just happened to be in a position where everything went right for him. And I think he's going to be able to have the pace to hold off the 10 and the 99. They've been able to keep with him, but I don't think they're going to be able to get past him.
Yeah, the only opportunity Almirola is going to have here is if Byron, say, makes a mistake through the S's here. We see some people make mistakes here and there, but 24 gets through here very clean. You can see that 5 car already gapping the 17. But Byron doing everything he needs to be doing right now to pick up win number 1 on the season and career win number 2 overall. Right now holds a comfortable gap over the 10 of Eric Almirola. And I mean, Jay, I mean, if Byron, of course, wins, it doesn't really affect our playoff grid, but it still does add a new winner to the board for us here. And that would be, what, I think 10 or 11 different winners on the season already. We've had 3 drivers win multiple times, and that is it so far. So that grid with the amount of drivers pointing their way in is getting smaller and smaller. So I mean, it's going to make it tougher and tougher for a lot of these guys on the outside looking in as well.
Yeah, if Byron wins here today, that's going to make the 10th winner of this season. And I don't think that would have any kind of effect. No, it wouldn't. So it won't have any effect on pushing anyone out of the playoffs. To Benedetto would still be the last one in. But what it does do is take away one of those positions that could be gotten on points. So you have to look at guys like Kyle Busch and Martin Truex right now, who both have had terrible races once again. They're really getting behind the eight ball here, and at this point, you almost have to think that they're going to have to win in order to get themselves locked in, or to get themselves into the playoffs at all.
Kozlowski trying to make a pass there on Busher. I mean, honestly, Jay, now Kozlowski's putting in a couple good weeks together. I mean, obviously, we've talked about it already. 20 points or plus below the cut line going into last week. Came out of it 30 above. And now, I mean, here again today, he's having another good run. And this is going to put him even higher above that cut line.
Yeah, and I think that we could potentially see Suarez gain some ground, back up and be a little bit closer than he was before. I mean, he's certainly going to gain at least a little bit, considering that he's 4 spots ahead of DeBenedetto. I don't know where he finished stage wise, so I don't know if he got any stage points. But if Suarez did get any stage points, we could see that gap be a good bit closer, and he could be within 20 points or so of DeBenedetto for the last spot.
So now underway on the final lap. Kyle Larson gained about 2 seconds on that lap. So showing the speed he has. Of course, Byron running away with the victory. The only chance they have is a big mistake or some type of failure from Byron. But other than that, if he hangs on here, he will be now the second HMS driver to win this season. We thought it was going to be an HMS car today, but we thought it was going to be Elliott or Larson. But instead, it's William Byron in command here on this final lap. What a race it has been, and it's going to come down to a nice clean finish here in Circuit of the Americas. Larson is closing very rapidly on the back of Suarez and Almirola, but doesn't look like he's going to get there in time. Then we got Kozlowski, DeBenedetto down here towards that top 5. Bowman with a nice rebound run here. A lot of cars were damaged, of course, in the top 10. Chase Elliott has actually rebounded. Last time we were really looking at him, he was down in about 20th. He has gotten back up to 13th place. Some contact up there in front of us, and now just saw some parts on the track. But up at the front, there you see the gap. Byron looking in command here. Now is, I mean, Almirola's only chance really is to just full send that 24 maybe here in the corner, as I thought that was actually about to potentially happen. But he is close, but not close enough here, as Byron's going to lead the way into this final sector here from Circuit of the Americas. But Jay, a big statement there from William Byron and Hendrick Motorsports today. I mean, Hendrick as a whole pretty much commanded the field just like they did in real life at Dover just last weekend.
Yeah, pretty much been all three of those cars, the 24, the 5, the 9, and even considering how Bowman's season has gone, Bowman as well has looked really good today compared to what he has done. I think this is going to be one of his only couple of top 10 finishes of the season so far. So certainly all four of those cars performing where they should be, and unfortunately for Chase Elliott, he's not going to get the finish that he should have gotten because of some unfortunate circumstances. But William Byron is going to come out of the final corner, hold off the 10, hold off the 99, and get his first win of the season. Kyle Larson almost getting third place there. Daniel Suarez.
There they come across the line. So Larson, what a fight back at least still to get fourth. Overall, a good day for Kyle Larson. Probably still going to be disappointed with their result now, as we know he threw away another win. Is Elliott right there at the line? I think got the 42. Yes, he did. So he got 12th there. That was close. Elliott had a chance to still get Hendrick Motorsports on in the top 10 before it came to a close. But here you see everybody else coming through to cross the line here in Circuit of the Americas. Now is at the very back of the field. Ryan Blaney is going to come through to cross the line behind Cody Ware to finish in 28th place. And we still got a couple of guys that are quite a ways back, actually. Kevin Harvick's just now on the long straightaway. Rough day for him, to say the least. He's 2 laps down in 35th place now. So rough day for him, as well for Martin Truex Jr., but Harvick already locked in the playoffs. Truex is not. So big day for Hendrick Motorsports and William Byron here from Circuit of the Americas. First win of the season for Byron, second of his career. Picked up that first one last year at Daytona, and that locks him in that Exalta Chevrolet in the playoffs later this season in September. So overall, Jay, I think we can both agree that was after stage 1. I think both of us had a little bit of concerns. We're like, I don't know how this is going to be. They're having a tough time passing. But stage 2 and stage 3, boy, did they prove us wrong. I think, of course, the different strategies definitely helped and play a role in getting the excitement factor going. But overall, a tremendous race here in Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, I really think the strategy calls really made this race probably the more interesting than it was going to be. I think, in my opinion, there was uh, that created a lot of passing. It created a lot of guys being able to try and run through the field. We saw Byron do it at least one time. It might have been a couple of times he did it. Larson the same thing. And I really think they're towards the end with how fast Larson caught those leaders. I think if he gets around Bowman a lap or two earlier, I genuinely think that he's able to win this race. I mean, he had so much pace there. I knew he was going to be quick, but I didn't think he was going to be quick enough to catch those leaders coming on to the end of the final lap there.
And as of course we look through the finishing order here before we end it, Christopher Bell, just a couple of notables. Christopher Bell specifically, he was running right behind William Byron actually earlier, and then he ended up with the strategy and whatnot. He actually got collected in an incident, bunch of damage. He had to come into the pit lane, ends up in the 33rd position instead of maybe being in a position where he could have battled for a win with William Byron. So Bell, he was already 36 below the cut line, and everybody he had to beat, he did not beat. So that's going to be a big hit again to him. And I mean, overall, Jay, I mean, yeah, we look at Joe Gibbs Racing today. Christopher Bell was actually 33rd place, the best finishing Joe Gibbs Racing car. So clearly, Joe Gibbs Racing is way off right now, and they need to find something very quick if they want to get Bell, Truex, or Kyle Busch in the playoff.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin is the only one who's in the playoffs right now, and he's the only one who's looked genuinely competitive this entire season as well. We know that Truex and Kyle Busch have both had good runs. They just haven't done it consistently, and they haven't always gotten the best finishes either. And I mean that shows in their points, where they're both out of the playoffs right now. And it certainly seems to me like at this point we're getting down to the time of where if they don't start racking off good finishes, they're going to have to win. They're getting into that danger zone of being just too far behind to do it on points.
And another guy that we kind of look at, so Daniel Suarez, of course, finishes third. I think the best finish for that team ever. A great day for them at Trackhouse Racing, but we compare him to the guys he has to beat. So Daniel came into this race 28 points below the cut line. The guy that was the last guy in was De Benedetto. So Suarez, I mean, in the final stage, I can't remember what he did in stage 1 and 2 in terms of points. We know stage 2 had a good result with the strategy and whatnot, but at least in stage 3, he only gained about 3 points right there on Matt DiBenedetto. So, and then Keselowski, of course, being 30 above the cut line. Well, Keselowski, he only gained about 2 points on him. So, overall, I mean, a great result for Suarez, but Jay, based off of what it looks like, is he probably still didn't gain as much as he probably would have liked.
Yeah, I think that's the only unfortunate thing you can say for that team is they had a great finish. They finished third place. But yeah, when you look at points wise, they didn't really gain much. And it kind of, you have to feel a little you probably feel a little bit demoralized too. You did everything right. You got third place, and then you look at the points, you gained maybe 3 points. I again, don't know where he finished stage wise. I'm pretty sure he got stage points in stage two and maybe even stage one. But I think De Benedetto also got a couple stage points as well in the first stage. No, actually, no, I think he finished right outside the top 10. So if Suarez did get stage points, that's going to be the only thing I think that that's going to save them points wise this day. Just unfortunate when you finish third place like that and get that team's best ever finish that you only gain a couple of points instead of getting the massive advantage you'd want to get.
And one last thing to touch on, Eric Almirola, completely different scenario compared to real life. He's clearly extended his overall series points lead today for sure with a second place finish. Wasn't in the mix at any point really until the end of the race when things just kind of worked out in his favor. Same way it worked for William Byron in his favor as well. And Almirola was able to get a runner-up second place finish as well. Chris Buescher as well, seventh place. Another guy that just continuously finds a way to stay out of trouble and get up in the mix. And he's probably still going to remain second place in the overall standings. Clearly lost some ground still to Almirola, but overall, a great event here at Circuit of the Americas. I mean, I've been looking forward to this section of the schedule quite a bit because after today, well, today, of course, we have the road course, but then next week we have the Coca-Cola 600. So, Jay, that first of all, that's going to be a really long one for us. We're probably going to be there for a good 240 laps at least. So I think both of us, I don't know how much we're looking forward to being in the booth to watch that, but we're hopeful for a good race. But I mean, we look at the next three races. We got Charlotte. Then we have another road course at Sonoma. Then we actually have the All-Star race, I believe it is. So we're definitely going to do our own version of the All-Star race. So don't you guys worry there. We'll try and mix in the actual format somehow with the cautions and whatnot. But Jay, overall, we have a very interesting schedule coming up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The 600 is probably the only race where I'm looking at that and going, "Oh dear lord." The only thing I mile and a halfs on this game are still very good, and most of the time they're entertaining. The only thing that I can think of is that's 240 laps. There's a lot of potential there for guys to get wrecked, and then we wind up having a 140 lap snooze fest where we only have 10 cars running and all that kind of stuff. So I hope that does not happen. I hope we can have an entertaining Coca-Cola 600, and I look forward to the rest of the schedule to end the regular season as well. Now that we're through the halfway point.
Yes, a few couple more notables coming up before we end it. We got a Pocono doubleheader coming up. Not sure if we're looking forward to that one. That's it right at the end of June. But we got Nashville Super Speedway. We got Road America on July 4th weekend. And then we'll have Watkins Glen. We'll have Indianapolis Road Course. And then, of course, at the end of the regular season, we're going to have the Daytona track once more. So excited for the schedule we got coming up. And then that'll lead us, of course, towards the playoffs eventually at the start of September. Once again at Darlington. As you guys know, we had quite the race at Darlington a few weeks ago here in the regular season. So hopefully that can be replicated well in the playoffs. But that will do it, though, for myself and Jay up here in the booth. So join us next week at Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600. If you guys enjoyed this one, you know what to do. We'd like to thank you for taking the time of your day to watch this episode and all other ones on the channel. And we will see you guys next week from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Have a great day, everybody.